way. And those are your local headlines on The Point. Now back to Ray.
Wait
It's
a
so
second.
funny.
I just realized I was wondering because somebody had asked where we were online, and I was like, it took me a second to press the button to go online, and I just realized I was looking at the YouTube live.
And you're not online?
We're not on the YouTube live. You know why?
Why?
Because you didn't click the Bob Klitsky. You didn't unclick the Bob Klitsky.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's people that are watching this. Hey, everybody just watching me on the Bob Klitsky thing. My name is Ray. I do the morning show on The Point here. And you're welcome to come in and check me out every morning. Like, follow, share, do all of that stuff. Anyway, 6:30. I feel like I need to take advantage of an opportunity to give everybody some good news, shall we?
Yeah.
Are you ready for a piece of good news? A little bit late in the morning after I've been, aw-shucksing about the governor taking off while the people over at the legislature were waiting for communications and guidance from her about, what a great deal she got for Guam with this hospital. So good she can't tell you about it. It's like the line in the commercial. No, it's so good I can't tell you about it in a 30-second commercial. I can't tell it to you in an all-day-long public hearing. But anyways, here's a piece of good news. I don't know if I want to preface this because otherwise I'd just yak too much. But I will tell you that I received from the Guam Power Authority a press release. Came in at 6:26 last night. And it says GPA announces a reduction to the fuel surcharge for meters read beginning June 1st, 2023. GPA is to petition the Guam Public Utilities Commission for the approved reduction. So it sounds to me like we're going to do it kind of anyway. There's a meeting of the Public Utilities Commission, I believe, tomorrow night. And they were hoping to get it on the agenda, but the guys over at the PUC are saying, no, there's a kind of slim chance we're going to be able to do that. We've got to meet with open government requirements, and the calendar does not favor us. We're okay. We'd like to see more of the paperwork. We'd like to see more of John Beneventi's math as we move forward. But, yeah, it's something that we can talk about in the next meeting. Well, that ain't going to happen until the last Thursday in May. So the guys over at the Guam Power Authority, looks like they're have made a decision, and we're going to be pushing forward with the rate reduction, pending believing that they are going to get, on the assumption that there's going to be the agreement of the Public Utilities Commission. So we'll watch and see. I think that's a piece of good news. Moving into the summer months, it doesn't look like I have not seen anything positive coming out of the administration on their thoughts on extending the programman, what did he say he wanted to call it? The programman candidate? Right, so we can keep the lights on. What a beautiful name that Cousin Troy was talking about yesterday. It doesn't look like they're going to extend that $100 a month credit. And the other line of thinking is, well, why would we need to if you're going to reduce the LEAC anyway? So we'll keep that on the screen, and we'll get around to talking about that and other things. Maybe other good news that may pop up between now and 9 o'clock this morning. Programming note, I am going to leave the program at 9 and put on my technician hat and see what needs to get fixed here in this Mars in retrograde month. 6:40 in the morning. I'll be right back with traffic.
Come try Guam's original Chamorro restaurant with Pica's Best 5 years running. Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Experience Chef Peter's candied salmon over scallion coconut rice, octopus to naktak, Chamorro platter, and their award-winning gourmet hamburgers. Or if you're looking for something healthy, try their keto-friendly menu. Come and enjoy Mezcla's half-a-day service at their Hagåtña and Grand Plaza Tuman location. Call their Hagåtña location at 479-2652 for reservation.
Go green, go hybrid, go to Nanbo Insurance, and your next power bill is on us. Insure your hybrid car at Nanbo and get up to $350 towards your next power bill. That's instant savings for keeping our island clean and green. Nanbo has been providing Guam with over 50 years of reliable and affordable auto insurance. At Nanbo, it pays to go green. Terms and conditions apply. Visit nanbo.com or call 477-9754 for details. 641 Ray Gibson Show, and time to take a look at what's happening on your roadways. I can get this up on the screen. That part of the system is working just fine. Don't see a whole lot of traffic that's going to slow you down tiny bit at Anderson Air Force Base, southbound Marine Corps Drive. Maybe a little bit on the way into Marianas Terrace over at that intersection, but otherwise it's clear running all the way through Dededo. Intersection spots that might slow you down seem to be running fairly smooth right now. Looking at slower traffic up around Ukadu area, and then we got Upper Tumon into the Tamuning area. Nothing major to see here. kids. Intersection over at 1 and 16, clean. 16 good all the way to 8, 10, and 16. Route 10 running clear. Route 4 into the downtown Augusta area. I'm not going to say it's a smooth ride, because it's never a smooth ride on Route 8. There's always something in there that's going to slow you down, or intersection that somebody hasn't figured out. Likewise, Route 4 is running a whole lot clear. So if you got a choice to make, that might be the way that you do it. Nothing major into the downtown Augusta area, all the way around Nimitz Hill and Big Navy, all the way down to Big Navy. Everything is running smooth. There it is. You're right now, traffic. This is The Point.
Chili's has just rolled out the best version yet of the 3 for $15 meal deal. Mix and match your choice of beverage and starter with the largest selection of entrees. Enjoy crowd favorite dishes like the honey chipotle chicken crispers with rice, bacon ranch quesadillas, or the juicy Santa Fe burger. There's so many combinations to choose from that you might have to three-peat to try them all. So come on down and make your own 3 for $15 meal deal at Chili's. More life and great value happen here.
It's 6:43 in the morning, and Frontier season continues. NissanGuam.com and the World Wide Web. Take a look at the website, see what kind of offerings they can make you on the Nissan Frontier. You can practically build the thing yourself if you're interested in doing that. But it starts with a test drive. Go on a test drive and then figure out what it is that you want on the ride. Maybe you want that little step up in the back over by the. Can I just tell you one of my favorite things about this ride here is the what do they call that, the door on the truck bed?
Oh yeah, the tailgate.
Tailgate. Yeah.
You sit on that?
Yeah, that you can sit
You're
on.
a tailgater.
But let me just point this out to you. This thing, it's so light. It's first of all, you open it up and it slowly comes down, and when it's time to close it, you don't feel like you've got to be like you're going to get a hernia closing this thing. Yeah, that really is a fantastic way that they did that. You'll appreciate that as much as I did. Nissan Frontier, you'll win $1,000 in cash just for the test drive. Free grills, coolers, canopies that they're giving away, and when you decide to buy it, how about this? No money down. Nissan takes care of the first 3 payments, and more free stuff. We'll put that tailgate down and shove in a case of Spam and a 25-pound bag of rice. Try it today. Test drive at NissanGuam.com.
It's the Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
6:45 in the morning, Ray Gibson Show, and as we've been yakking about here today, is the governor knew that was going to happen. She said, "Oh, everybody's going to talk about me, but I have to go because it's an important trip. I'm gonna diversify the economy. Maybe I'll bring some money home for everybody on Guam." So she didn't show up, and the idea, as laid out in the letter to Therese Turlai, the Speaker of the Legislature, yesterday, was that there's nothing new. There's nothing new to talk about here. Well, there's no, it's not like we're meeting with the Admirable every day or whatever. They just, for whatever reason, they didn't feel like going down to the legislature, and you get what you get. But there were folks that did go down to the legislature, including the Attorney General for this town, Doug Moylan. Good morning, Doug. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Ray.
Always a pleasure hearing from you. And in this case, I didn't realize that you were among the invited guests for the public hearing. I think PDN is quoting you as saying, "dead on arrival." Is that a correct quote?
Well, the senators were asking, different questions, different perspectives, and that was, I guess, a summary to make a long explanation short. And that was basically that is what it was when a document is being presented to the AG's office, and there's no room to negotiate or to change it. At least at this time when it was presented back in earlier March.
Yeah.
So. That's one characterization for it. But, my office, what I do is just an opinion. The courts ultimately are the ones that would decide as a matter of law what would be the facts of it. So, like an attorney, we look at the document, we look at the court cases that have gone through the courts, and we come out to an opinion, and the opinion was that it was dead on arrival. And, I don't blame the governor. I don't blame the lieutenant governor. I think that the attorney, she was given bad advice. Clearly bad advice, because you were heading for a brick wall when you were negotiating and signing the agreement the way that it was. And, the DOJ guys are probably laughing at us, thinking that, where's your money going to come from? They have to go through the same thing in the federal system, go to Congress, get the appropriation, and then move forward. How was Guam going to be doing this with, estimates of $1 billion or more and 75-year commitment? You didn't need a lawyer to really figure that out.
Among other issues that the documentation has, and to be able to back up the claim made by the governor yesterday, there is nothing new to report. It's not as though your office and the offices at Adelup have been able to come up with workarounds on some of the poison issues that have come out of that your review of the lease.
Right. The senators brought up the idea is that with the money comes the decision making, the policy issues that would accompany it. It's like when a parent gives the kid some money. These are the strings attached to it. So with the legislature, that's why they say the power of the purse. The legislature will decide when, how, and how you're going to use the money. So it's more than just the legislature giving the money. It's the legislature deciding whether or not they're going to give it, how big the facility is going to be, what is the annual budget for this type of facility, can we afford it? Those are all the questions that the government officials have to work with. This is not a private corporation. There is
Correct.
not one CEO. The legislature, the governor, and according to the law, the attorney general have to be involved at certain points. There
might be another issue with regard to form that I learned from Attorney Peter Skro. He is on the line with me right now. Hope you don't mind me conferencing. Good morning, Pedro.
Hey, good morning, Ray. Attorney General, I wanted to tell you the people of Guam are very fortunate to have you.
Well, thanks, Pete. Thank you very much.
Really? Yeah.
Trying to do our job.
I hope that Big Sister Shelley is lighting a candle every day to keep people like you and Chris Barnett as healthy as possible and paying attention as much as possible that we've got here. Anyway, so Peter sent me a note here yesterday with an interesting observation, and maybe this is something that as you move forward with the governor on this LALU lease, to the degree that there's going to be any more conversation about it at all, given the fact that the new firm deadline is going to be in just a couple of days. Peter, what did you find out there that caused you a couple of seconds of pause?
Well, I first want to say that what I'm going to say is no disrespect to our Attorney General. I fully understand that he has.
Peter, you're breaking up.
Can you hear me?
Move a little bit closer to the door, closer to the cell site, or whatever it is that you're connecting on. Yeah, that might help out a little bit. And Attorney Moreland, Doug Moreland, Attorney General, I'm going to put you on hold. I've got a lot of background, a hissy background on your line, so I'm going to put you on hold and then come back to you after Pete's made his point, so you can listen off the air. All right, Peter, go ahead.
There you go. Can you hear me now?
Much better, yes.
Okay. First of all, there's a couple of things, Ray. At least for me as a private attorney, when I look at a contract, the first thing I look at is the first top of the page. Who are the parties? In that lease, at least what was posted by Candid last month, it's the government of Guam and the United States Navy. I go to the end of the signature lines. That's important to see who is signing and whether they have the authority to sign. On behalf of the United States Navy, it has the name Carrie Ann Camacho. Carrie Ann doesn't have any authority to sign on behalf of the United States Navy. Carrie Ann works for the Navy of Guam Real Estate Division. For a lease like this, I know Carrie Ann, Ray, because I don't know if you remember, Ray, but back then when you helped to get GRMC built, there was a time where there was some panic because there was a Navy easement that was later found that went through the middle of the property, but I had actually told everybody to be calm and had to negotiate for 6 months with the Navy, and we relocated the easement to the outer boundaries. Carrie Ann worked there for Real Estate Navy. She was answerable to her boss on Guam that then was answerable to Navy Real Estate Honolulu that then was answerable to Navy Real Estate Washington, D.C. So there's no way Carrie Ann Camacho here in Guam is authorized, and where is the authority given? I think that the question needs to be asked is, what is the federal law? There's got to be a federal mandate by Congress that allows anybody to sign on behalf of the United States Navy, just like you, Ray, in the corporation of the radio station. Nobody can just sign on behalf of a contract or a lease, and for you. So it's the same thing. There's got to be a federal law that gives the authority of somebody to enter into a lease like this. And then the other thing is the practical side of developing a hospital. You know, I'm hearing and watching on TV that they're misrepresenting, and I'm going to just be honest, they're lying to the people of Guam. This is too important. A hospital is a sacred place. It takes at least a year and a half just to design one. But if you look at the provision of the lease, it says that government of Guam has to comply with the National Environmental Policy Act. Under that federal environmental law, it requires an
Environmental
impact statement.
Yes.
An environmental impact statement, Ray, will take at least 6 months to a year for something that big. And then if the environmental impact statement is not sufficient, because this is what is called under the law a major federal action. A major federal action will then require a federal impact assessment, which would take at least another year. So you're going to be caught up in studies for that 102 acres for at least 2 to 3 years before you can even start talking about focus groups,
right?
About the equipment you're going to have, tailor it to the needs of the government of Guam, tailor it to the needs of the Navy, which that lease, you know, I'm sorry, but why is the people of Guam having to build a hospital for the military? They have enough money to build their own hospital. And I'm a little bit disappointed with the Admiral because when he spoke at the Guam Chamber of Commerce and he was basically almost begging the private sector of Guam to help them, I was the first to raise my hand. And in a good faith effort, I asked, is there anything our private sector can do for the health care of the military in combination with the health care of the people of Guam? And he said yes. He was surprised that I knew who Navy Medicine was because in building GRMC to learn about hospitals, I flew to Washington and I met with Navy Medicine. Now, there's no way if the government of Guam can't even run GMH, why would the Admiral want government of Guam to build a hospital for his people?
He's new here. he's new here, Peter. Listen, I appreciate your time and your thoughts.
Okay.
And we'll get you back on the air because I know that you've got more of them in a little bit. I'm not sure if we'll be able to do it today, but this issue isn't going away anytime soon. But I do want to. I'm going to let you go and then bring Doug back into the conversation. You can listen off the air and get his thoughts. So I thought it was an interesting point that Peter was making in this. Is on the line where it says signature, does Carrie Ann Camacho have the authority to sign off on behalf of the Armed Forces of the United States of America, the U.S. Navy?
Well, Ray, when you have the federal government, you presume that, especially at the level of an admiral, that they've got their house in order. But, you know, you've got a lawyer, Pete Scroll, good lawyer. He's basically indicating other problems. Why didn't the lawyer for the governor ask these questions? And especially, we go full circle again. The main problem is the appropriations clause, the involvement of the legislature. It's like I said, it's dead on arrival. If you can't even get past that, then asking those later questions just becomes, one of the checklist items.
Yeah, it's just academic at this point.
Right. Senator Blas did raise the point about the environmental, the archaeological problems that you could have if they start digging and finding an ancient site there. All those things should have been. But
on that though, could not the governor of Guam acting on behalf of the island of Guam saying that's okay? We checked it out. There's no skeletons under the ground, and we don't have any endangered animals and butterflies and lizards. So go ahead and start bulldozing.
She's subject to the laws of Guam. So whatever the legislature has passed in the past regarding those types of issues,
so they just can't waive it off.
Subject to it. Right, but the fact that the contract wasn't flexible enough to accommodate for that puts the government of Guam, the people of Guam, in a bad situation that this project could be delayed years. We have a 10-year time frame under the contract in order to build that hospital, which is undefined on how big it is and so forth. So, yeah, there's so many problems with this, Ray. You're just going by what is the biggest problem, and you can't get a signature because of that.
Well, so we got the hospital stalemate. That's obvious here. What's the next step going to be? I think the governor is going to use some legal flex and take this to the courts. You're busy enough as it is at the Attorney General's office, just keeping thugs behind bars. And I don't know that the people of Guam are going to stand for the expense, the time, trouble, and expense now to litigate this.
Well, that's what the elections are for. You put in the people that you think that are going to best serve you. And unfortunately, what you're saying is correct. If this thing goes, that's the whole reason why you have a lawyer, to keep you out of court, to craft the document so that it has the integrity, the provisions in it, so that you're not going to be litigating it in court. And at the public hearing, we were citing the GRRP case. I believe it's Pangilinan versus Gutierrez, that took, I want to say, more than 10 years. There's at least 3 decisions in the Supreme Court of Guam that came out of that, which is basically a lesson in you need the legislature before you appropriate money. One of the big parts of that litigation was that the contract failed to bring in the legislature to speak for the people of Guam on whether or not this type of debt is going to be incurred and the manner in which it would be incurred.
I just think that we got all kinds of things that we need to spend money on. I don't think trying to fight this out in court after the Attorney General of Guam has spoken and it has received so much angst from members of the second branch of government. Maybe if we're lucky, we get a summary dismissal from an officer of the court. Closing in on 7 o'clock in the morning, Doug. Appreciate your time. You have a fantastic. Wait. I'm sorry. In deference to Ken LG, I need you to call me back in the next hour. Quick question for Doug. Do you know how many deportables are residing at the Department of Corrections right now? Is it possible, given some of the testimony that came out of the legislature yesterday, they're shorthanded out there and they've got too many people. How many of the inmates do you suppose we might be able to deliver back to their home islands with the promise that they will never return?
There are several, if not dozens, of deportables, persons that are not U.S. citizens that ICE has identified that once the DOC releases them, they're going to be taken and shipped out. So
can we get that started this weekend? Is there? You got a guy? Can we get somebody on this? Because it seems to me that would resolve a number of problems over at the Department of Corrections if they could just just reduce the population by a significant amount.
Well, that would require the court to intervene because they're on judgments. And the court would have to amend the judgment, and then we'd have to get the cooperation of the defense attorney. So that's part of the program that I'm trying to get implemented in the office. We're in communication with ICE. That's one of the prongs of it. So, you're speaking of the
why would the courts not want to do that? It makes their I know that there's a line of thinking, like, you do the crime on Guam, you got to suffer the punishment here on Guam. But the people of Guam can't. Number one, we can't afford it. Number two, we can't guarantee the safety of any of the inmates over at the Department of Corrections under current circumstances. They've got a better shot of a better life if they were back home. I think it would be the most humane thing to do, and I can't believe that there aren't judges that would see it that way.
Right, it's my job to bring it to the judges, but we need to get it to the judges. All
right. Well, we'll keep each other posted on that. You need airtime to help the community convince the judges of which direction they got to go. Let me know about that. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. Hey, Doug, we're KUSG. I got you. Pika's best. I'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye, Ray.
Here it comes to Fox News.
Lisa Brady, Fox News. The Washington state governor taking action.
Inaction against gun violence is unacceptable in the state of Washington.
Democratic Governor Jay Inslee signed 3 bills to that end. One bans some semi-automatic rifles, such as AR-15s and AK-47s, from being sold. Another requires a 10-day waiting period for all gun buys and proof of gun safety training. The third allows lawsuits in some cases against gun makers.
These manufacturers at long last will be required to act responsibly in the sale of these what can be public nuisances.
Washington joins 9 states in the District of Columbia with similar bans.
Fox's Gernal Scott, the assault weapons ban already prompting a lawsuit. A House Republican plan to raise the debt ceiling while cutting spending would cut federal deficits by nearly $5 trillion over 10 years. That just in from the Congressional Budget Office. But the White House zeroing in on a different report.
In a new analysis, Moody's Analytics finds that the Speaker's legislation would increase the odds of a recession, cost 780,000 jobs, weaken the economy, and increase the unemployment rate.
Spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre reiterating the president's call for raising the debt ceiling without conditions and dismissing calls, including from some Democrats, for talks. President Biden launches his re-election campaign.
There's more to do. So let's finish the job.
Speaking to a union conference after a video announcement earlier today, setting up a potential rematch.
We will rescue our economy. We will crush inflation. We will stop the invasion on our southern border.
Former President Trump in his own video calling the Biden agenda a socialist spending calamity. Much of California's Yosemite National Park now set to close over a flood threat as warming temperatures melt a massive snowpack. America's listening to Fox News.
Guam Regional Medical City was awarded Advanced Primary Stroke Center certification from the Joint Commission. What does this mean? It means our neuroscience team is equipped with the latest technology and a team of the finest neurological doctors to treat stroke, which is one of the leading causes of death on Guam. GRMC, reflecting our commitment to providing safe and quality patient care. For more information about GRMC, visit us at grmc.gu or to make an appointment, call 671-633-GRMC.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they will continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $4,100 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 671-475-4545, Upper Tumon 671-647-5626, or in Dededo 671-633-4473.
An appeal for unity in a national debate from one Republican presidential candidate.
Former South Carolina Governor and UN Ambassador Nikki Haley wants to turn down the temperature when it comes to debating abortion.
We must persuade people to find consensus, not push them further away.
While some potential and current Republican candidates would back a bill banning abortion at a certain amount of weeks, Haley says it's unrealistic because no president will have the votes. Haley instead says there should be agreement that more should be done for adoption, access for contraception, protection for pro-life doctors and nurses from going against beliefs, and that jail time shouldn't be a punishment for abortions, something some lawmakers in her home state have tried to pass. Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
Colorado becomes the first state to officially let farmers fix their own equipment. Governor Polis signing a right to repair bill into law over the objections of manufacturers. Some arguing that giving farmers tools and information would allow horsepower enhancements that could put safety and the environment at risk while also exposing companies' trade secrets. Supporters of the bill say illegal changes will remain illegal. A Japanese spacecraft aiming to land on the moon has apparently failed.
Flight controllers with iSpace in Tokyo were hoping to have landed their Hakuto R craft today, but instead of confirming landing after an expected signal loss, the company's CEO stated they assume it crashed. Hakuto R launched not from Japan, but from Cape Canaveral aboard a SpaceX rocket back in December and was carrying a lunar rover called Rashid, built by the United Arab Emirates.
Fox's Eben Brown. It would have been the first lunar landing by a private company instead of a government. A sell-off on Wall Street amid renewed concern about the economy. The Dow dropped 344 points. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Since 1997, Island Eye Institute has been committed to your family's eye care needs. From its beginnings, Island Eye Institute has recognized the value in incorporating state-of-the-art technology into personalized care and the commitment to excellence. As Guam's complete eye center, our specialists offer their expertise in glaucoma, retina, cornea, LASIK, cataract, and diabetic eye disease. Island Eye accepts Select Care, Net Care, Take Care, and Stay Well. Call us at 637-2020 to schedule your appointment today. We're located on the second floor of the Baltesh Pavilion in Tamuning.
Half a day. This is Clara Manglona from Security Title with an important warning. Wire fraud is real, and home buyers and sellers are one of the biggest targets, even on Guam. When sending money by wire transfer, be sure to confirm the wire instructions by phone, not email. In this case, it's good to be suspicious and know who you're dealing with. Let the professionals at Security Title work with you to minimize loss due to wire fraud. We are here to help.
Chili's has just rolled out the best version yet of the 3 for $15 meal deal. Mix and match your choice of beverage and starter with the larger selection of entrees. Enjoy crowd favorite dishes like the honey chipotle chicken crispers with rice, bacon ranch quesadillas, or the juicy Santa Fe burger. There's so many combinations to choose from that you might have to three-peat to try them all. So come on down and make your own 3 for $15 meal deal. At Chili's, more life and great value happen here.
Off a day at 7:06, I'm Donna De Jesus. Here's a look at your local news on The Point. A man on trial for threatening to harm a woman and her children was found guilty in Superior Court yesterday afternoon. It took a jury 2.5 hours to return a guilty verdict against 29-year-old Ben Castro Crisostomo, convicting him of aggravated assault, terrorizing, child abuse, and family violence. Crisostomo was arrested earlier this year after he refused to let a woman known to him, an infant, a 2-year-old child, and 75-year-old woman leave the home. Police noted that the woman was forced to use a hammer to hit Crisostomo in an effort to protect her family from the attack. Crisostomo maintains his innocence, with defense attorney Peter Santos saying he was struck in the head while he was sleeping and his skull was fractured. Santos adds that the physical evidence in the case all negated her very wild claims. However, at the end of the day, the jury felt sorry for her. Crisostomo faces up to 12 years in prison. And Gerald Wayne Cruz II is scheduled to go to trial in July for shooting and killing several neighborhood pets in 2018. Cruz appeared in Superior Court on Monday afternoon for a scheduled motion hearing, but Judge John Terlahi decided to issue a trial schedule. Cruz initially was charged in 2018 after being accused of shooting several pets in a Jigo neighborhood over the course of several months. Court documents state that Cruz shot one of the dogs a day after arguing with the owner about its barking. The shooting did not result in immediate death, but left the dog to bleed to death. Cruz will stand trial for 2 counts of animal cruelty with a special allegation of possession or use of a deadly weapon, 3 counts of possession of an unregistered firearm, and 3 counts of unsworn falsification. Cruz is scheduled to go to trial July 12 with a pretrial conference set for June 27. Another hearing was scheduled for June 5. More news after this.
In celebration of our 34th anniversary on Guam, BK Melts are now available. Our classic melt features 2 flame-grilled Whopper Junior patties, a quarter pound, melty American cheese, caramelized onions, and stacker sauce on 2 slices of toasted bread. BK Melts are also available in a spicy and bacony variation made for our super fans. Top off your meal with French fries or onion rings and a refreshing Sprite. Thank you, Guam, for 34 years. BK Tumon Bay, Agutya, Micronesia Mall, and the airport. You rule.
After concerns were raised about recent pay raises given to Adelup staffers at the beginning of the year, the governor's office is defending the adjustments, saying results speak louder than rhetoric. Pay raises at the governor's office amounted to over $15,000 per pay period, or about $402,000 for the full year, and were effective from January to September. Raises included a $15,000 annual pay bump to the governor's chief of staff and thousands of dollars in raises for other officials. Adelup noted that other administrations and legislatures have awarded raises to unclassified employees, but the difference now is that Leon Guerrero is giving raises at a time of unprecedented fiscal strength within GovGuam. A release from Adelup states, "If serving our government means you can't ever get a raise no matter what you accomplish, then we are truly making this about politics rather than performance." And Public Auditor B.J. Cruz spoke to the Rotary Club of Tumon Bay at the Hyatt yesterday and talked about some of the audits the OPA is working on. Cruz says an audit report should be out soon on why 1,200 GDOE laptops are sitting in a room and not out with students. Another matter that people have been asking the OPA to audit for years was short-term B&B rentals, with revenue leakage as a major concern. Cruz says the OPA will once again look into GovGuam's use of credit cards. He says, surprisingly, most departments and agencies do not have credit cards, but among those that do have credit cards is an agency that has 25 of them, with some with a risky credit limit of $200,000. Cruz urged the public to take the time to read OPA performance and financial audits to get a better understanding of what happens in GovGuam and whether taxpayer dollars are being properly used. And those were your top stories. Back to Ray with weather.
Well, I wanted to take a look at the governor didn't write this. This is Carlo Branch probably put ink to paper on this. Not only has this administration's fiscal policies resulted in eliminating the deficit in 2021 during the worst public health and economic crisis of our lifetime, blah, 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 blah.
Sounds like AI, Ray.
Well, yeah, it does.
Sorry, man. I got to call it out.
Chatbot GPT went and looked at everything that Carlo Branch has ever written and said, okay, Carlo, ChatGPT, write me something that talks about the raises. And it came out, used the alliteration, results speak louder than rhetoric. They like to do that over in his office. But he said, not only has this administration's fiscal policies resulted in eliminating the deficit in 2021, now we recall now one of the initial phone calls in the beginning of the pandemic when we knew that it was going to get economically ugly everywhere. I remember I called one of my favorite money guys, Phil Flores from Bank Pacific, where others put branches, they place roots. Anyway, I said, Phil, what advice can you give to people and businesses and et cetera right now? And his first thing was liquidity. Now is not the time. This is the time where you better be holding on to cash, because cash is going to be king here before too much longer. And I think that continues to be true today. So I don't know about the fiscal prudence of paying down the debts during the worst economic crisis and public health calamity of our time. Maybe it would have been better to hold on to a few extra bucks and take care of operations. As many people have pointed out, take care of operations. Look, while nobody's around, why don't we start cleaning things up? Why don't we just start painting buildings and building buildings and all of this other stuff, take care of the roadways, fix the pool, et cetera, et cetera. We can always do better. But I like this. Now, remember the goal, the stated goal, and this is for all governments. This is not exclusive to this branch of the government and this particular governor. But remember, it's always admit nothing, deny everything, make counter accusations. And so as we go deeper into this press release, it says, like our sister branch of the government, the legislature, adjusting salaries or separating personnel between terms is both commonplace and expected. We wonder how often individual raises or contract increases are announced by the Committee on Rules or its leaderships. Maybe the legislature ought to be taking a look in its own house before it starts throwing rocks at our glass house. Maybe there's something going on in there that people need to know about. Now, it's no surprise. The guy that used to be actually in charge of the legislature, besides Committee on Rules, was Carlo Branch. He was the executive director out in that part of the government for a little bit. Anyway, so ponder. You might be able to see other things in that press release if you've got access to it. Anyway, it's 7:13 in the morning. Do I got to do weather? I have to do weather? Well, we're playing the theme, so I suppose we should. Sun came up about 6:02 this morning. Jeff from Pirates Cove was out there with his camera ready to take snaps of it. Mostly sunny today. Highs near 86, maybe some isolated showers. Winds east up to about 17 miles an hour, gusting as high as 23. For tonight, partly cloudy skies. Same thing tomorrow, mostly sunny. Highs near 86 degrees with a heat index over the next couple of days. It'll be 92 degrees. Sunrise this morning again at 6:02. The sunset tonight. Oh, can you smell that? That little burpy thing that I just swallowed a burp. Can you smell it?
Is that a pepperoni?
That's whatever they put in what is it? It's the American something over at Domino's. It's supposed to taste like a cheeseburger. Anyway. And sunset tonight is at 6:35. Hashtag tell the others. There it is. News and weather together on 93.3. This is The Point.
Is your business ready for digital transformation? The latest Wi-Fi technology is here, and it's Docomo Pacific's WorkPass, powered by Plume. WorkPass unlocks connectivity, productivity, and security tools all in the palm of your hand. Access features like adaptive Wi-Fi, guest and employee networks, evolving AI security, plus so much more. To learn more about WorkPass, visit business.docomopacific.com. Docomo Pacific Business. Work better together.
For all your real estate needs, call the professionals at Hoffaday Realty. Jody, Saran, Libby, and Lolita, and they'll take care of you on every step of the real estate process. No worries. Just contact Hoffaday Realty at 588-4232 or 588-HOFFA or email them at hoffadayrealty@gmail.com. They're at 426 Challenge San Antonio, Suite 204 in Tamuning. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 4. Hoffaday Realty for all your real estate needs. I got you. 7:15 Ray Gibson Show brought to you by APL American President Lines, a global presence with a local home. Also being brought to you by the team over at Subway. Got a refresh to be fresh. And one of the new things they've got is an opportunity for you to enjoy the great flavors of the Subway series without leaving your home, without barely even having to get off the couch. Just reach over to the phone, download the app for Good to Go, and they will bring your favorite Subway Series sandwich platters over to your place. The convenience of having the all-new menu of 12 chef-inspired sandwiches delivered right to you. Excuse me, I'm on the couch. I can't get up. I left the door open. Can you just come on in? Can you feed me? I'll just sit on the couch, and you can take the Subway sandwiches and stick them into my face. Is that one of the options on the Good to Go app? Find out today. You got a refresh to be fresh.
News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-8255.
7:16, Ray Gibson Show. The market's tanked, but probably has a lot to do with Joe Biden announcing that he was going to be running for president again in just a little bit. Him and Kamala, the people are saying, can this country survive another 4 years of the Biden administration? Hell, I don't know if we can survive the first 4 years of the Biden administration.
Watch the language, Ray.
I'm sorry. Admit nothing, deny everything, make counter accusations. Anyway, 7:16 in the morning. Conversations every once in a while with Doug Moreland, and it must have been twice as triggering for Peter Santos. He's on the line right now, and wanted to spend a couple of minutes talking about the conversation that I had with Doug Moreland about the possibility of a number of deportables languishing at the Department of Corrections, and maybe something can be done about getting rid of them and easing the situation a little bit for the people that run the Department of Corrections. Good morning, Councilor Santos.
Good morning, Ray. You know, people are being deported. I know of 3 at least that just recently got deported, but it's happening, without any fanfare.
Well, let's make some fanfare about it. You'd think the administration might want to be making a little bit of a fanfare about it, the same way that they incessantly crow about following the law and giving me my tax refunds on time.
But they're not commuting sentences like the way Governor Calvo did. These are natural deportations.
Right. So people whose sentences have already concluded.
Yeah, and in order to do that, in order to speed up the process, either the parole board or the governor has to commute a sentence. The court has no power to do that.
Okay. So how do we help Doug out by seeing to people who might not have concluded their sentences, who might otherwise be convinced or convincible? Somebody needs to be convinced that those sentences should be commuted so that ICE can send them home.
Well, that's up to you got to talk to the governor
Okay, so I think that's the distinction that I'm making. So you're talking about people that have already, their sentences have concluded, and they're maybe by virtue of the parole that is allowing them out, all of a sudden they become lightning rods for attention from ICE and can be sent back home, I suppose, and hope with the instructions that they are never to return. Is that the case with these guys?
Well, it's not like they're just attracting attention. I mean, they do a violation that requires deportation.
Deportation, I see.
Yeah.
All right, but so it's happening. But it's not the governor's office that's doing it.
No.
Okay, so that's what I want.
From what I understand,
that's what I want to happen. I want somebody at the governor's office to take a look at the non-citizens who could be put on a deportation list, commute their sentences. Then you go to Doug, and Doug goes to ICE, and ICE they formulate everything that they need to put together so that these guys can be put on whatever planes they need to get put on and sent home. I think it's a humane thing to do because clearly they're not fit for life in this kind of civilized world that they have. So
it's not that simple. So some of them want to go, but some of them have their entire family here, Ray. I mean, if you have children and grandchildren and your spouse here, and then you have to get sent.
Oh my God, my heart is bleeding. Oh my God. Oh my God. Maybe we shouldn't commit crimes. They were separated from their families while they were in jail, weren't they?
Correct.
Thank you.
Also, too, there are people who are convicted who are innocent.
Then they can go back with them. What do you mean? What is it? There are people that are convicted that are innocent. Hello, Mr. This is why you lost the Hammer horror case.
No, it's because they believe a very outlandish story just because the witness cried on the witness stand. Even though all the physical evidence said no, it didn't happen. Her statements were all changed at 10 different times, and then she contradicted herself countless times on the witness stand. But
you can't adjudicate the case here, obviously. So we're going to get to the sentencing phase, and then you're going to appeal.
Yeah, but I want to also talk about something Pete Scrow mentioned because it just I was like, what? What is he talking about? So I used to do federal contracts all the time.
I love you, Pete. I really do.
Yeah.
I hope the next time we see each other, there's a hot chick at the end of the bar so we can get another selfie.
Yeah, and so the federal government has, and it's not just the Navy, it's all of the federal government, they have what's called contracting officers, or KOs. That's the language. I don't know why it's called a K, but instead of a CO, it's a KO. It's a contracting officer, and they're the ones that are designated to sign different types of contracts, whether it's a procurement contract, whether it's a real estate contract, and that's what Carrie Ann Camacho is. So she's absolutely vested and authorized to sign on behalf of the United States government.
All right. Well,
so I don't know what Pete is talking about.
Is it the battle between Pedro and Pete?
Pete doesn't know what he's talking about.
You guys can fight it out in court, because it looks like that's where this is going to head, my friend. Always a pleasure talking with you, Peter Santos. Peter Santos. That's 888-8255. The Hammer Horror Case is what I call that. I know, but I can't say why I know, so I'll just leave that there. 7:21 in the morning. Quick look at what happened on the markets and where the oils are here today. Stocks making the biggest moves after hours. Enphase, PacWest, Bancorp, and the markets have closed. And there's a whole lot of people out there looking for bargains, and maybe they're there. S&P 500 closed 65 points lower. The Nasdaq off by 238. Let me be breathless as I say the Dow Jones reacting violently to the Biden announcement here, off by 344 points here, closing at 33,530 today. The FTSE is down. Nikkei picked up 26 points. Hang Seng Index dropped by 342. Shanghai off by 10, and the VIX drops and actually up by almost 2 points. DAX is up by 8 points. If you take a look at those markets, if they're among your favorites. All right, big loser. Well, they were all big losers. S&P led down by First Republic, MSCI, United Parcel Services, Northern Trust, and Danner Corporation. I've also got losers on the NASDAQ, including Splunk, CrowdStrike, NetEase, Atlassian, and Zscaler. Big losers on the Dow, United Health, Apple Inc., Boeing Corporation, Dow Inc., and Intel. Walt Disney comes in the second biggest gainer on Wall Street. And again, I think that has to do with the fact that they're doing some significant reorganization. And when I say reorganization, I mean we're letting people go. It's supposed to be up in the big numbers there. On the commodities, oil at $77.13, and you're going, okay, Ray, how does that compare with yesterday? Yesterday, West Texas crude was trading at $78.81. So we've got some downward motion on that. Good for the LEAC, and again, the announcement from the Power Authority that starting on, what was it? What did I say? It was June 1st. Meters read after June 1st, we'll have a lower LEAC. This is assuming, I suppose, I'm assuming that it assumes that the Public Utilities Commission is going to bless the reduction that is going to be proposed by the Power Authority. Tapis crude yesterday $82.37. Today $82.86. Up, but it ain't up by that much. So I don't anticipate the guys over in the gas company are going to be looking at just put another motivational phrase. If somebody's itchy to touch the board, just put another motivational phrase up there. If you're traveling, the yen at 133.47, the peso at 55.56 in the Philippines, and South Korean won, you'll get 1,342 in exchange for an American dollar. Real Joe's got a Bitcoin number?
No, 28,190. It's up by like 600 something.
Up by 600. Okay, so what have I got here? I forgot to mention gold. Gold picked up.
Bitcoin loves Biden.
Apparently. Yeah. Keep it unstable. Keep people looking for somewhere that we might be able to hedge. And maybe that's what happened with gold. Everybody looking for a hedge there picked up as much gold as they could. It is up over $2,000 again, 2,007.9 to be exact. All right, there's our look at what's going on in the market. Jerry Roberts in the studio. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning. First primary is where?
Iowa? They usually throw them up in that direction. But I don't know. I got to check on the dates on that. Maybe right around the Democratic debates. Oh, wait.
No.
They're not doing debates in the Democrat Party.
Well, we'll see what they do or don't. But
the DNC's already said.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So Kennedy started out, they said, with 14 points. Okay, that's where his beginning numbers are. All he has to do is score in the 30s.
The live Kennedy you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
He has to score in the 30s. Okay. In the first primary.
Yeah.
The first head-to-head. That's all he needs to do. And at that point, the dominoes will begin to fall.
Is he the candidate du jour? I mean, we don't really have a nomination yet, but he's an interesting guy.
If Biden's going to run, now you have to ask yourself a question: is Newsom going to challenge him, or figure out that we'll just let Joe ride or die on this deal, and in 4 more years it's our turn? right? Or does he go out and take out the president in the interim period during the primaries, and then take his best shot? And maybe have to pay the price for that later on.
It's too early for me to do the calculus on this stuff right now.
Yeah.
First primary, according to the Wikipedia here, is first in the nation, New Hampshire primary.
New Hampshire.
Yeah, it's first widely observed test of a candidate's viability. So we'll see what happens between here and there. Suppose Biden might be able to fix the country between now and New Hampshire?
Sure. No problem there.
Do you think Trump could fix it after 4 years of Biden-Harris?
But I think that both of them are going to be strong in New Hampshire, Kennedy and Biden probably. So if that's the case, and Kennedy scores well, then I think you've got
could be all over.
You got a horse race at that point.
And that would not necessarily be so bad. I mean, he's running literally as a Kennedy Democrat. He's the chip off the old block, as Pop used to say. The coconuts don't fall very far from the tree.
Well, and the Kennedy Democrat sounds a whole lot like a moderate or conservative
Yes.
these days.
Right down the middle, a Clinton Democrat.
And all those people in the middle who feel disenfranchised, right, by both parties.
Correct.
Are going to take a look and say, wait a second, this guy sounds like he's okay, right?
I got you. 7:27 in the morning. Ponder that. It's about that time for us to begin pondering national politics again. This is going to be fun. And I hate to sound overly dramatic about it, but I think the future of the republic hinges on this upcoming presidential election. The future of the planet, maybe, with the gains that seem to be made by people that are clamoring for a third world war. At any rate, Jerry Roberts is in the studio, being brought to you by our friends over at First Hawaiian Bank. Here's the extra point.
Good morning. Trust is tough to earn and easy to lose. This is one of the key lessons we teach in our course, The New Boss. Mess with trust at your own risk. We have an update on our commentary about MillerKnoll CEO Andy Owen and her communication challenges. That's coming next on The Extra Point.
Fly even higher and get to your destination with the United Credit Card from First Hawaiian Bank. You can earn 40,000 miles with $2,000 worth of spending within the first 3 months. That's 40,000 reasons to get on board with the First Hawaiian Bank United Credit Card. It all starts with yes. Certain restrictions apply. To learn more about this offer, visit any First Hawaiian Bank branch or go to fhb.com/United.
Half a day, this is Honey. Here at APL, our expertise and extensive network can help you grow your business and reach out to more global markets. As a responsible carrier, APL is also committed to a sustainable future, whether it's protecting the environment or investing our efforts in giving back to the community. Our dedicated teams in Guam, Saipan, and on U.S. mainland are here to support you. Call 588-4651 or visit apl.com.
When we last left Andy Owen, CEO of large office furniture maker MillerKnoll, she was on a Zoom call telling her employees to forget about the fact that they weren't getting a bonus, to get out of Pity City and get back to work. Owen, who reportedly paid herself a bonus while her employees were not getting one, was roundly slammed by media far and wide as being insensitive, cruel, disingenuous, and pretty much tone deaf. You could add clueless when it comes to how Zoom and social media can come together to be a problem for a CEO who is prone to losing her cool and criticizing workers on the call. Well, that call was recorded. The juicy parts uploaded to social media. Tens of millions of views later, there was a tidal wave of global outrage. So what should Andy do in the face of mounting criticism? How about suggesting she was ill and under the influence of a prescription that causes hallucinations? Nah, she didn't opt for that one. What if she said it really wasn't her, but an evil representation of artificial intelligence put out by a hacker? Nah, she didn't do that one either. Wait, she could go on and say that because the company wasn't going to pay bonuses to those folks who were counting on them, that she was going to cancel hers as well. It may not have softened the blow of not getting the much-needed extra money for the employees, but at least she would have won the day on symbolism. Surely, she would see that this was what she needed to do. Nope. What she did was to immediately say that the uploaded video was out of context. I saw the video. Even if What preceded it was equal to Owen and the others singing Kumbaya and giving virtual hugs. What made social media was ugly. That 90 seconds was not out of context. She was making a clear point. Then she claimed she wasn't criticizing, but trying to generate a rallying cry to motivate the troops, and that it seemed insensitive. Finally, she said this: "What I'd hoped would energize the team to meet a challenge we've met many times before landed in a way," in quotes, landed in a way that I did not intend, and for that I am truly sorry. Here's the lesson for anyone in a leadership role. Language matters, and so does intent. Owen is not taking responsibility here. Telling people to get out of Pity City over the loss of bonuses? What kind of rallying cry is that exactly? She said her remarks seemed insensitive. Seemed insensitive? Then the things she said about landing in a way that I did not intend, is that putting the blame on the workers? That they failed to pick up on her intention? So in going through all these verbal gymnastics, she made everything worse. Therefore, she further loosened whatever bonds of trust she'd worked to build over time. So why would you do that when the better course of action was so obvious? I'm going to clean this up for Andy. Here's what she should have said. Quote, "In the past several days, I've been soundly criticized for my words during our recent Zoom call. Every bit of it was deserved. What I said the other day was wrong. We're all working in tough times, and you have every right to be concerned about bonuses that are important for your financial well-being. My remarks were totally insensitive, and I fully regret making them. I'm sorry we can't pay bonuses at this time, which includes me, as I won't be getting one unless you all get one. You all mean the world to me, and I won't rest, and I know you won't either, until we have turned this situation around and can once again enjoy the greater financial rewards together," unquote. Well, Andy didn't say that. What Owen did was attempt damage control when she was being pounded in the media. Whether coincidence or not, Miller Knoll stock has fallen 30% over the past several weeks. Did that play into her decisions here? When people didn't buy the out-of-context claim, she gave an apology, sort of. In my opinion, I think she made things worse. Look, if you screw things up by saying the wrong thing in front of your team, just admit it and ask for their forgiveness. That doesn't make you look weak. It makes you look strong. It actually starts the process of healing and rebuilding trust. And for a CEO, for a general manager, for a business owner, trust is your main currency. Don't spend it unwisely. That's the extra point. Be responsible and make something good happen today. For 93.3, The Ray Gibson Show and First Hawaiian Bank. I'm Jerry Roberts.
Another nice one, Jerry. 7:34 in the morning. Got to jump into, before we get into the newscast here, I want to just jump into traffic. Getting word here on the meme machine that we're seeing a lot of slow traffic around Ukadu High School. Apparently there is a stalled bus out there, and that is holding up traffic. Looks like it's traffic generally trying to get from Route 3 up towards and then past Ukadu, but it might also be slowing down the southbound traffic trying to get to the GRMC and that particular intersection out there. So be wary if you're in the area. If it's not too late, you might want to turn around and go and occupy yourself until they figure out how to push a 20-ton bus off the road. Ow is right. 7:35 now, and time for a look at news and headlines with Donna D, brought to you by Half a Day Realty. You can reach them at halfadayrealty@gmail.com. Also being brought to you by Rudy Rodolfo and the team over at Burger King, celebrating a lot of years here on Guam with a bunch of great sandwiches. The classic, the bacon, and the spicy. The new BK Melt at BK. You rule. Now with the news, here's Donna D. Good morning, Donna. What happened?
Last weekend's 40th Smoke and Wheels event may have been the last. The Chamorro Land Trust Commission continues to discuss what's next for the Jigo Raceway Park, with the June eviction looming. Commissioner Earl Garrido suggests to parcel the 250-acre land and find tenants for each parcel, saying Guam does not need a Grand Prix or Smoke and Wheels. Commissioners will table discussions until next month's meeting, pending a GPS land survey of the lot. And the Chinese aircraft carrier Shandong has entered the South China Sea after nearly 3 weeks of operating in areas further east, including sailing with the rest of its strike group within around 400 miles of Guam. There is no clear indication that Shandong conducted drills specifically focused on striking Guam or other U.S. forces in the region, though it has done so in the past. The Office of the Joint Staff of the Japan Self-Defense Forces tracked the Shandong passing from the Philippine Sea into the South China Sea. And Governor Lou Leon Guerrero sent letters yesterday to the Interior and State Departments outlining why the funding needs to continue after learning of the Interior Department's plan to cut off compact impact funding. She says the money helps pay for school facilities that directly serve migrants from the freely associated states. The university has federal funding to study the true cost of the migration versus the positive impact to the local economy. Adaloop will use the statistics to bolster its claim for continued funding. And those are your local headlines. Back to Ray.
Where's the Palmyra Atoll? Anybody know? Which one of that might where that might be?
No.
Palmyra Atoll. Where
Kiribati.
I'm looking for an area of the Pacific Mass. Kiribati.
Kiribati.
Yeah. So I'll find it. A remote protected island in the Pacific where the Nature Conservancy conducts research is the home to the world's second largest nesting colony of. And are they going to see the sea heck? There's a piece of news. Derek Malama from Hawaii Public Radio writing a story about an endangered bird native to Guam is returning to the wild next week. First time it's happening in decades. The Guam kingfisher, known around here as the sea heck, will return to the wild this week as an experimental population on Palmyra Atoll, according to a final rule by Fish and Wildlife. A rusty red bird with dark blue tails and short dark blue wings, large charcoal gray bill, and a black stripe through its eyes. Doesn't say what it tastes like. I'm sure there's a recipe out there somewhere. The Fish and Wildlife said the bird's primary habitat on Guam has been indefinitely altered by the accidental introduction of the predatory brown tree snake in the mid-20th centuries. While tools to manage brown tree snakes at a landscape level are being deployed, the Wildlife Service said a complete eradication of the bird-eating reptile will take time. My guess is never. How long we've been doing stories about brown tree snakes? All of my adult life. Palmyra, located halfway between Hawaii and American Samoa. The agency emphasized the introduction of the sea heck to the atoll is not intended to be a permanent solution. The Pacific Island Times reported the last Guam kingfisher spotted in the wild was in 1988. Biologists brought the surviving 29 birds into captivity to rescue them from total extinction. Today, there are 152 left in 25 facilities around the world. And
there's plenty in Rota, Ray.
Well, I thought
I've seen a lot of them in Rota.
In Saipan as well?
I don't know, but Rota's got a lot of them.
Right? No brown tree snakes.
I counted.
That might have been. I don't know. All I know is that it's a bird lover's dream when you get up to the North Islands because there's no snakes and plenty of birds that have figured it out. In fact, they've gotten to the top of the food chain where many of these endangered, what we consider endangered species here on Guam, are actually getting large enough to be able to pick up pets and small children and fly them to mountaintops where they're devoured and fed to their little babies. Yeah. A little known fact. That's why you probably should stay away from some of those uncharted North Islands. 20 away from 8 o'clock in the morning. This is the Ray Gibson Show. I'll be right back.
Express yourself into the group. The Guam Chamber of Commerce celebrates its 99th anniversary at the Dusitani Resort on May 6th with the theme of Madonna's Vogue. The Chamber's membership includes many corporations, large and small, entrepreneurs, and nonprofit organizations. Members play a key part in making Guam a star-bright place to live, work, and play. Let's congratulate the Guam Chamber of Commerce and its members on celebrating its 99th anniversary.
20 away from the top of the hour, and time to take another quick look at traffic. As I said earlier, we see some problems over at the Ukadu area. Stalled bus is what's causing that slowdown. But as I zoom out, there are other spots where the traffic is backing up, too. It looks like even before you get into the greater Waipau area, you are going to run into traffic and meet up with a little bit of traffic over at the intersection at Waisang Song. Otherwise, Harmon Loop intersection, we got a whole bunch of other spots there, 1 and 3, Micronesia Mall. You might see some traffic at those intersections. Route 16 running real clear, though, until you get to 8, 10, and 16. Tri-intersection is busiest on the Route 4 side. So from about where just after the intersection of 10 and 15, you're going to be running into some traffic that doesn't move a whole lot between there and the intersection. Muntalon Middle School could be the culprit. Maybe some car line activities going on. Route 8 already dogging out traffic, so expect some delays at the usual spots as you make your way through there. People trying to get away from the highways, going through Route 15 all the way into back. I don't know that that's a big help. You still got a bunch of places where you're slowing down in there, and then you're going to meet up with some traffic when you get to Route 4 anyway. A lot of traffic up around Afami, Sinahanya. Seeing some traffic over by Navy Hospital and Guam High. Otherwise, southbound Marine Corps Drive. If you've made it past Aganya and you're headed south, you'll make it. There's nothing there to slow you down. No bad traffic, no potholes, no giant birds from the North Islands swooping down on the cars. Anyway, 741, there's your right now traffic. This is The Point.
Subway's new Subway Series menu is a collection of greatest hits. But my number 7, the Mexicali, is on a whole nother level with the way avocado meets chicken and pepper jack cheese.
Outlaw! You tell them, Raiden. That's the number 2, the Outlaw Sandwich. They don't know flavor.
It's the greatest cheesesteak hit with juicy steak, pepper jack, and Baja Chipotle sauce. There's a better meat and cheese pairing than that. Shanzi, justify my point, please.
Meatball, pepperoni, and mozzarella. That's number 6, the Boss Sandwich, because we're the bosses of flavor. We're done here.
At Subway, you gotta refresh to be fresh.
Guam Regional Medical City was awarded Advanced Primary Stroke Center certification from the Joint Commission. What does this mean? It means our neuroscience team is equipped with the latest technology and a team of the finest neurological doctors to treat stroke, which is one of the leading causes of death on Guam. GRMC, reflecting our commitment to providing safe and quality patient care. For more information about GRMC, visit us at grmc.gu, or to make an appointment, call 671-633-GRMC.
Rediscover Talk Radio here. Your FM News Talk Superstation.
That's cold,
This
bro.
is The Point.
That's cold. Buddy of mine writing in this morning. We were talking with Peter Santos a little bit earlier, and he was outlining a number of reasons why his client got hit with the gavel at the courthouse, the Hammer horror case. And my buddy's writing. He says, Peter's client does have grounds for appeal. Ineffective counsel. Oh, that's cold, bro. 7:43 in the morning in the Ray Gibson Show, and on screen right now is a flyer I got from the Micronesia Mall talking about Mall Ball 23. It'll be a Mall Ball indoor basketball at the Micronesia Mall. 3x3. They'll have 3 different categories: open for men's, women's open, and new masters for 40 plus. Right?
Can I play against the women?
You can play for the women,
okay,
if you
Thank you.
want to. I don't know. I don't know if they're checking pronouns on this. There's a $1,000 cash prize in all of the divisions, including the Masters 40+ division. What do we call that? The Salumpus Cavalry, Bengay Brigade.
Tiger Bomb.
What is it going to be? The White Flower Power. Buenos de Navide. Here's a guy that knows his way around the basketball court. Simon Sanchez from the Consolidated Commission on the Utilities. Good morning, Si. How you doing?
Well, they never say anything about my vertical leap other than you could never slide a piece of paper underneath it.
Well, sometimes your shoes are a little bit too thick for the court, but this is interesting. I've actually seen some pictures. They brought out the mats that they will use for mall ball, because they're not going to play on the hard floor. So they've got these mats that they're going to play on, and they test fitted them in the mall. It looked like a perfect fit to me. I think this is going to be kind of an exciting thing to happen there. It starts June the 2nd through the 4th, and it will take place in the center core of the Micronesia Mall. It's going to be a great athletic affair.
Very cool, because, basketball is very popular here, although I'm sure the new flooring will have nothing to do with that help my vertical leap.
Well, but it might be softer on the knees. That's what I'm saying. It might be a little lower impact on the knees, especially in the 40-plus division. Not going to make a big deal about that. And there's people going, wait a second, I'm 40. What do you mean? When I'm starting to get old? Is that what's happening? Yes, it's there. You're old. Get over it. Trust it. Make sure that you've got your Olympus, your Bengay, the white flour, all of that stuff, and maybe a handful of Advils because you're going to need them after the game. Simon Sanchez from the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. Let me get to this because I thought it was an interesting piece of press release that came out. Not very wordy, just saying that the GPA is announcing a reduction to the fuel surcharge for meters read beginning June 1st, 2023. PUC hasn't ruled on anything, and I don't know that I've seen anything official come from GPA to the CCU either.
No. So I think there's some confusion. The CCU last night approved GPA management's recommendation to lower the LEAC.
Are you on a Bluetooth thing, Si? Are you Bluetoothing?
Yeah, it's not clear.
Not super clear. I mean, I'd prefer you were talking directly. He's such a beautiful voice.
Is this better?
Yes. Oh my God. There's people right now. It's like a cloud. The weight has been lifted off their shoulders. It's that good. Yes.
Well, you sounded good in the gym. Anyway, so that's the process. So we approved it last night. Now we send it to the PUC. But thanks to our good Judge Klitsky, you can't have meetings unless you advertise in time. The PUC has a regular meeting at the end of every month, and us approving it last night doesn't give them time to put it on this agenda.
Correct.
So we anticipated that, and we said, okay, we know they'll look at it in May. We've never seen them decline a request to. Actually, we've never seen them decline any adjustment, or very rarely do they decline any adjustment. And this one is to lower the rates about 17% for everybody because our price of fuel has gone down from $170 a barrel 8-10 months ago to $130 a barrel. And we finally have recovered that $47 million that we did not pass on during the COVID period. And, remember that we're both the owners of the company and the customers of the company. So we as owners are happy to get that $47 million finally back and paid for by our customers, even though it was very painful for us as customers to pay for the cost of oil during the past 3 years. But we're there now. All the monies will be recovered by the end of the year. And JB was able to calculate, because of a fall in our prices, that not only could we do it in June instead of August, right? Normally we do it in August. We could do it in June. And he said, let's do it. We approved that last night. It now goes to the PUC, and we expect that they'll approve it in their May session, and that's why we word it for meters read after June 1st. And as you know, that means your power in May is going to be 17% cheaper when you get the bill in June.
Right.
So you can start to enjoy that.
I'm looking forward to enjoying that. These are the hotter months, and what am I working on tomorrow? I got the guys coming by. My aircon Kuya is going to come by and make it so the indoor unit talks to the outdoor unit. And I figure, what the heck? While you're here, why don't you just make sure you run some cleaner through the fins and the fans and all of that stuff, and make sure that it's running at top efficiency going into the summer months. I don't have the same issue that many other people do with the idea that the kids are going to be out of school, hanging out at the house. They'll have every light on in every room, standing there with the refrigerator open and every aircon down to about 65 degrees in virtually all of the house. I don't have that problem, but still there's an impact on me when I get to this. Are you hearing anything else from the legislature or the governor's office on the idea of the extension of the credit, or is that a dead stick conversation at this point?
What I'm hearing, sort of off the record, is maybe not 5 months, maybe 3 months, especially because the LEAC's also going down. And, there's a battle for money. There's LEAP 2 they're trying to fund for the businesses still struggling with tourism. They're trying to fund this credit. Then, President Biden said no more compact money. So it's a tough time down at the legislature to make sure they don't want to go back into deficit spending. We can appreciate that. But I think, to me, again, I think there's enough cash flow coming into the government of Guam over the next 18 months that they can sort of finesse all of these needs and take care of the businesses struggling, give a credit. And maybe if it's 3 months, okay, we'll take 3 months. Next fiscal year, they don't have $50 million in power credits that they're going to have to appropriate like they did this year. We hope they won't, right, because oil will behave, and we've lowered the LEAC. So, I think if they juggle the money wisely and look at it over an 18-month period, I think they can fit in all these needs. But, that's above my pay scale. That's why we put them in there to wrestle with that. And at least we appreciate, in our lifetime, Ray, deficit spending was what you always did. And now you have both branches saying, nah, we really don't like it, but we're going to try to see what we can do to help. Lots more needs than cash, right?
Right. Well, I don't know how they're going to completely avoid that. I mean, I recognize and respect the brain power, some of the brain power that has been assembled to keep the numbers where, within some semblance of reality here. But as you're pointing out, as you pointed out, as many people have been saying all this time, we're not going to see a whole heck of a lot by way of a federal gravy train running through here as we have since the beginning of COVID. And so whatever monies that we've got now are limited and eventually are going to be running out. I think that's a big deal, what you brought up here about the Biden administration eliminating the $30 million in compact impact funding for the affected territories. That's always been kind of a windfall that we've been able to use for the schools now. Those monies have to come out of the general fund, and who knows what other loosening, tightening of the purse we'll see from a Republican-led House as we move forward into the budget period.
As you know, whether it's the federal or local government, there's that saying, we're from the government and we're here to help. We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, you pointed out all the competing issues, and that's why we keep listening to you every day to just see what happens next.
Where are we going now? 7:51. Well, let me ask you this question, and maybe there is an opportunity here for some kudos from the Consolidated Commission on Utilities, and I wouldn't have a problem if you directed him in one guy in particular. His name is Adrian Holm. I call him Adrian because he's Australian, mate, and I think he's a good friend of mine and one of the guys that was responsible for all of the massive loads moving up and down Marine Corps Drive in the last 2 or 3 months with Optimus Prim out there. They've moved their last of the big heavy loads, and the next one is going to take it back down to the commercial port so it can get put on a boat to New Zealand and do something big down there. What do you got to say about that mammoth move? First in our lifetimes. If you want to talk about once in a lifetime, I think the first in our lives that we've seen anything like that.
Well, first off, Bula Dunkaloo, because you're right, it was a huge move, but it's all part of the puzzle of getting our power bills even lower, because when Ukadu opens in about 14 months, and John B's cracking the whip on him to say, you cannot be late, we're going to reduce the amount of oil we use by 1 million barrels a year. And that's going to come off the LEAC, and that's going to come off the power bill. And that's another piece of the puzzle that we're putting into place to lower the cost of energy here. And then we can add more solar energy, which will further reduce our use of oil and further reduce our cost of power. And that's the blend that we're working on now. And that's a big piece of it, was to get Ukadu, get all that equipment up there. So we, when you go up there, the construction side is a humming. KEPCO's got $600 million at risk. As they want to build that plant. They don't get any money back till they create a megawatt. And so they're working hard to get it done, and we're very close. We're really on the cusp of another big step forward for our community to lower the cost of energy when we get Ukadu built, and then we continue to add solar. There's another bid for solar that's been put out, and that's going to be bid upon this summer. We already have people looking for land. So, I'm very excited about the next 5 to 7 years when Ukadu opens and we have these solar farms, that you're really going to see a dramatic drop in the cost of energy here. And then tomorrow I get to go to Saipan.
Hey.
My classmate, Governor Palacios, appointed me to their CUC, so I'm going up for my confirmation hearing, and hopefully we can duplicate the success up there that we're creating here, because both islands, good people need a lower cost of energy, and everything we can do to contribute is why we'll put on.
Wait, hold on a second. I'm not crazy about the idea of sharing my expertise here with the NMI. I want you all to ourselves, or in the very least, is there a possibility that there might be a consolidation of the consolidations so that we've got the economies of scale, if you will, where a move might be smart that can be made. I'll give you an example. Shelley lost, I'm not sure how, but she lost one of the sliding glass doors. I've got one that needs to get replaced, and I said, reach out to a contractor and tell them we got plenty of business for you. If you can give us a break on the labor, the manpower, the materials in order to replace all of these sliding glass doors at the same time. So I'm wondering, is there a possibility that smart moves on Guam could net smart moves up in Saipan and a reduction in the cost for both islands?
Well, I think you lose the economies of scale because you have 4 separate islands, 4 separate grids, 4 separate, the CNMI has 3 separate islands that power is delivered to. So each island has a unique solution, but in my mind, there's no reason you can't combine a good generator with solar for all 4 of these islands and gets their prices down. Guam will always be the cheapest because we have higher economies of scale, but that doesn't mean the other 3 islands to the north can't lower their costs.
Well, I mean, so when our fuel comes in, is it the same boat that drops off the oil at Sugar Dock?
Well, it comes to Guam, and then they got to transship it to their islands, and they got to do ultra-low sulfur diesel and all the same rules of U.S. EPA that we do, but they haven't done much solar. Now, they're smaller islands, so how many 250-acre lots are there in Tinian? Yeah. Right, on Rhoda and on Saipan, but maybe they can do smaller scale, and that's what I hope to at least take a look at for them. I mean, ultimately, they have to solve their own problems like we have to solve our problems. I'm no magic bullet, but I have some background and experience and some successes here in a place that's just 100 miles to the south. And, you know, like you said, what's the old joke? What's a consultant? Somebody that lives 100 miles away. So there's a position on the CUC board for an off-island expert. And I guess Governor Palacios ran out of nominees and was so desperate he asked me if I would take the slot.
All right, this ingress of the Duenas Mafia into the CNMI. Give us a decade, give us a generation. We'll take the place over. 7:57 in the morning. One last question for you. It's a tricky question that has been broached to me in private, and I said I don't know. You know, we're quickly running into a time where you wonder about the expertise of the generation that will come after us. Not making any claims to any expertise that I may have, but you know, thinking about a position like the one that JB is holding over at the Guam Power Authority, and we're lucky that we've got him for as long as we have. What happens when he comes in to, starts talking to the Consolidated Commission on Utilities about, you know what, guys, I think it's time for me to enjoy the sunsets?
Well, we thought about that, and JB says he's committed through UKADU. But today, we are promoting a very bright young Chamorro woman engineer. She is the one that's negotiated all the solar contracts, all the power purchase agreements with UKADU and MEC, now PD 8 and 9. She knows how to run a utility, and she's much younger, and her hair isn't gray, and we promoted her to number 2 yesterday. We're going to promote her to number 2 today. Jennifer Sablon. She's a shining star. You watch her. If we can keep her happy and motivated, because she almost retired, she almost went to the feds. We lost another good woman engineer that probably was going to succeed JB, but she went over to the feds. Can't blame her because she was eligible for GovGuam retirement and get the federal money. But Jennifer's a rising star, and the person that will replace her is a young man also with potential. We've got some great stars coming up through the organization in both power and water. And, we're in good hands when we promote Jennifer Sablon to number 2 position today at the Guam Power Authority.
I'm glad that we got to get the scoop on that particular story. Besides closing in on 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to run. I'll talk to you pretty soon. And on behalf of all of the ratepayers, I do appreciate the idea of getting in front of the PUC's announcement and deciding already that we're going to start using a lower number for all of the readers, that all of the meters getting read starting June the 1st, which means May bills are going to be lower. And that's great news for everybody.
Yeah, well, the PUC can't act where we acted last night, and so we've done our piece, and I will send it to them. I'm confident they will lower the LEAC, and the power bills will be lower after June 1, just as we predicted.
I'm sure that Mr. Harecki will see the genius in the thinking of the CCU and GPA.
Hope so, and the fact that we could do it 2 months early and hold it till still next February, that's great news. That's 8 months of holding that lower rate.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
It's all going in the right direction, Ray.
All right, I'll see you pretty soon, Si. Hugging a kiss to Anthony Lou. It's closing in on 8 o'clock in the morning. But let me just make this point here. As Simon was saying, they're talking to people over at the governor's office saying, well, we might not be able to get you all 5 months, maybe just 3. The LEAC's going down anyway, so it's not like the people are in. No. Don't let them get away with this. Do not let them get away with this. Letters to the editor. Call the radio stations. Flood their WhatsApps and say, no way. You guys all got raises, 22% raises in the government of Guam. The payroll has gone up, and that's not the ratepayers' issue here. Ratepayers, regular folks in this town, could still use the assistance of lower power bills over the next 5 months. It is a piece of legislation, bipartisan. The Speaker of the Legislature and Joe S. and Augustin, regardless of what their differences are on the floor of the legislature, Adelup 6 or whatever, they are both sponsoring this measure. measure over at the legislature. It must pass, and it must pass unanimously and be veto-proof. Let's get our 5 months worth of overpayments to the government of Guam over the last 2 years in inflationary costs. Let's get that back in form of lower power bills. It's 8. Stand by now. Fox News on KUSG. I got you. 93.3. Pika's Best.
I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. A tug of war in Washington over the debt ceiling, with Democrats led by Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer blasting the Republican plan.
Speaker McCarthy rolled out a wish list straight out of the Freedom Caucus playbook. It might as well be called the Default on America Act, because that's exactly what it is.
McCarthy has said he would raise the debt ceiling, but only if it's tied to spending cuts. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell is calling on President Biden to meet with McCarthy.
Even as his own advisors say, the debt ceiling is approaching fast. The White House is totally MIA. His position has been no negotiation, no reform.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said again today the president will not go along with any proposed spending cuts. Hours after making his re-election bid official, President Biden delivers a campaign-style speech.
Now we just got to keep it going. Finish the job.
Chants of 4 more years and enthusiastic cheers from labor union members as President Biden made his first policy speech since launching his second-term campaign.
Under my predecessor, Infrastructure Week became a punchline. On my watch, infrastructure has become a decade headline.
The president is touting manufacturing jobs created by infrastructure and computer chip legislation. But his re-election faces political headwinds, with inflation topping most voters' concerns and the president's approval numbers underwater.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. Much of Yosemite Valley in California will be temporarily closed as flooding due to rising temperatures is expected to melt the massive snowpack from a series of winter storms. America is listening to Fox News.
With decades experience in Guam and the region, Take Care members have access to the largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs. Membership also includes the high-quality credentialed network of on- and off-island healthcare providers and the one-stop FHB Health Center and urgent care. Ask for Take Care. Call 671-647-3526. Go to takecareasia.com for more information. Take Care. Our island, your health plan.
Always here to help you. This island is our home. Through the years, we've been a friend to the neighbors we have known. Now we're banking on the future. Services to choose. Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
An iconic entertainer and activist has died.
Harry Belafonte, the iconic singer known for his hit Banana Boat and his activity in the civil rights movement in the 1950s, has died. He was 96 years old. The singer and actor died at his home in Manhattan from congestive heart failure. Belafonte was born in Harlem in New York, but moved to Jamaica at a young age. Then he returned to the city. He made history as the first black person to win an Emmy in 1960. He also won 3 Grammys, and as an actor made his mark on Broadway in John Murray Anderson's Almanac and 3 for Tonight. Belafonte was also an activist and confidant to Martin Luther King Jr., who applauded the artist for his courage and moral integrity. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
Reaction coming into the death of Belafonte. President Biden saying, Jill and I are saddened by the passing of a groundbreaking American who used his talent, his fame, and his voice to help redeem the soul of our nation. A doctor with the World Health Organization has lost his job over allegations of misconduct.
The health arm from the United Nations fires a doctor from Fiji, Timo Wakinavalu, with a history of alleged bad behavior. WHO spokeswoman Marcia Poole says the position was dismissed following findings of sexual misconduct. The Associated Press first reported in January that he had been accused of sexually assaulting a woman at a Berlin conference in October. Years before that, he was flagged to senior executives at the WHO for allegedly harassing another staff staffer, but the earlier allegation didn't result in any significant consequences against the doctor. In interviews with WHO investigators, Wakinavalu has categorically denied he ever sexually assaulted anyone. CJ Papa, Fox News.
Coming to Broadway, a stage play about the making of the film Jaws. The Shark is Broken, co-written and starring the son of one of the film's stars, the late Robert Shaw, Ian Shaw. It'll debut this summer. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
Is your business ready for digital transformation? The latest Wi-Fi technology is here, and it's Docomo Pacific's WorkPass, powered by Plume. WorkPass unlocks connectivity, productivity, and security tools all in the palm of your hand. Access features like adaptive Wi-Fi, guest and employee networks, evolving AI security, plus so much more. To learn more about WorkPass, visit business.docomopacific.com. Docomo Pacific Business. Work better together.
Join us at Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro and see why they've been crowned Guam's best Chamorro food restaurant for 9 consecutive years. Experience Chef Peter's candied salmon over scallion coconut rice, octopus tinactac, Chamorro platter, and their award-winning gourmet burgers. Or if you're looking for something healthy, try their keto-friendly menu. Come and enjoy Mezcla's half-a-day service at their Hagåtña location from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for lunch, 5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. for dinner, or 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. for their famous Sunday brunch.
Guam Regional Medical City was awarded Advanced Primary Stroke Center certification from the Joint Commission. What does this mean? It means our neuroscience team is equipped with the latest technology and a team of the finest neurological doctors to treat stroke, which is one of the leading causes of death on Guam. GRMC, reflecting our commitment to providing safe and quality patient care. For more information about GRMC, visit us at grmc.gu, or to make an appointment, call 671-633-GRMC.
Your local news is brought to you by Nambo Insurance. Skip the line, pay online. It's fast, easy, and secure. Visit nambo.com for more information.
Off a day, it's 8:06. I'm Donna De Jesus with a look at your local news on The Point. 35-year-old Jonathan Philip Meno Mantanotña, who was released from prison earlier this month, has been accused of using brass knuckles to assault a man at a gas station. A complaint was made at the 76 Circle K along Ipao Road. An employee told police that Mantanotña was harassing customers. He refused to leave and only left after one of the employees called the police. When the victim encountered Mantanotña, he charged at the man and struck his head using brass knuckles, but stopped and fled when 2 other individuals intervened. Officers located Mantanotña and found a glass pipe with meth residue. He admitted to assaulting someone at the gas station and to smoking meth earlier in the day. Mantanotña was on probation for 2 2022 felony cases and was released from confinement on April 7. He was confined in DOC on $10,000 cash bail. And Menzies Aviation, the operator of the airport's baggage handling system, is challenging a $300,000 fine levied against them last month. Members of the Contractors License Board opted to fine Menzies for operating without a contractor's license for over a year. Menzies was also fined $1,000 a day until it got the necessary licensure. They did apply for and receive necessary licensure after it was issued the $300,000 fine. Board members determined that Menzies needed a C13 license to perform electrical work on the baggage conveyor system at the airport, which consists of hundreds of 480-volt electric motors. The violation was deemed willful and intentional by the AG's office, given that Menzies' parent company had gone through the licensing process before and was familiar with it. And more news after this.
Go green, go hybrid, go to Nanbo Insurance, and your next power bill is on us. Insure your hybrid car at Nanbo and get up to $350 towards your next power bill. That's instant savings for keeping our island clean and green. Nanbo has been providing Guam with over 50 years of reliable and affordable auto insurance. At Nanbo, it pays to go green. Terms and conditions apply. Visit nanbo.com or call 477-9754 for details.
Stale. Public school students are beginning to take the year-end assessment to see what they've learned and retained over the school year. But the Smarter Balanced assessment that was supposed to be used this year will have to wait until next school year. GDOE Deputy Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction Joe Sanchez says the Smarter Balanced contract was only received this year, and there's not enough time to utilize the test. Last school year, GDOE used the ACT Aspire assessment but that test has been phased out and is no longer produced. The Smarter Balanced Assessment, which uses computer adaptive testing, was selected by GDOE as a replacement. The ACT Aspire assessment is aligned with Common Core standards, and Sanchez says because of that, it meets the requirement for federal funding and no waiver is needed for the delayed rollout of the Smarter Balanced Assessment this school year. And the Island Beautification Task Force met yesterday to discuss a new spay and neuter event for stray animals, volunteer opportunities for picking up trash in public areas, and tackling a derelict building in Hagåtña. Public Works Director Vince Areola says there has been a slowdown in the number of citations issued for abandoned, rundown buildings that are a public safety hazard, mainly because DPW's chief planner is off island because of health issues. One building that is slated for a citation is the old Red Cross building behind Academy. The property is under the jurisdiction of the Guam legislature. The next spay and neuter clinic will be held at the end of June in Inarajan. The exact date is being determined, and the G3 Conservation Corps will be meeting this Friday morning at 8 o'clock at the Sinahanya Mayor's office to pick up trash around the village. Volunteers are welcome to join and should bring sunscreen and water. Gloves and trash bags will be provided. And those were your top stories. Now back to Ray.
Where are they doing that? Where's that going to be? Sinahanya.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't they just put trash barrels there? I'll bet you there's no trash barrels.
Bet you there is, and just no one uses it.
Well, no, I bet you there's none. That's very common. No, it's very common around here. We've got these places, there's up and down Marine Corps Drive.
Those big ones?
No, well, I mean, just any kind of trash barrels. You go to like a Lupang, right? A Lupang has got, they've got that little the huts there, and then you've got a little further down. You've got some more huts in the place. Then you go a little further down. Most of these places don't have anywhere for people to put trash.
So I bury it in the sand.
There's no trash thingy there?
There's no trash thingies there. We
basically
invite people to come by and enjoy these outdoor spaces, but we don't give them any place to put their trash. And when I talk to people about why they don't do that, they say, well, people will bring their trash from the house, and then we'll have to go and empty it. And I said, well, then go and empty it. I don't understand what the problem is. And then we've got another issue. And I'm trying to get there's a new person that's in charge of this now, and they're going to be doing something now up and down Tumon and around. They've even got some at Dunkas. There are these big blue some in the shape of a box.
Okay,
right, about a 3x3 box, and then there are other ones, these concrete big round tubes that stick out of the ground. Yeah, you know what those are for?
Trash?
They're for trash. They are for trash.
That's not a fire pit?
No, they're for trash. But the thing is, it doesn't say trash on them. So people will just go, I'll just toss this over here on the ground, literally within feet of these boxes that just need to have somebody in Korean and in Japanese and in English and maybe even in just tomorrow that says this is for the basula.
Trash, please.
Yeah, put your trash here. Especially when it comes to the Asian tourists that we get around here, they're very, very fastidious about this kind of thing. And they don't, you show them a thing where it's just generic trash and they don't know what to do with it because where they're from, they're used to these things. Paper trash goes here, plastic trash goes there, aluminum goes there, glass goes there. This is how we do trash in other places. So when they come here, they kind of freak out and say, what, I can put all of the trash in this? Yes, go right ahead. Somebody else will take care of it further down the trash line. But like I said, it all starts with, number one, putting the trash things out there and then putting something that identifies it as something that is okay to put trash in. 8:13 in the morning in the Ray Gibson Show. And that's just the few of the thoughts that are in my head. There is an accident at the Archbishop's Circle. I got this while the news was playing. Is right. I'm not going to say there's something inherently dangerous about this particular traffic circle that we have on Guam. But there's something inherently dangerous about this traffic circle that we've got here on Guam.
Are those two cars or just a two-toned car?
I'm not sure because you're right. It looks like
an aftermarket hood.
There's a police car. We have a police car. And then what looks like a Mustang-looking vehicle, is that what is it? But it's a black Mustang vehicle, but the hood is red. So I don't know. I don't know that that's got the customary markings of a rental vehicle or what might have transpired through there. My guess is this car, which has the right of way, if I look at it correctly, was probably met with a car that was trying to get up from the Hilton. that thought it had the right of way, even though he was against the yield sign, just kept going. You know how I know that might be the case? I do it all the time. I do it all the time. I get up, I get that Hilton Hill, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm Ray Gibson. Get out of my way. And so I will go, even though there might be some cars that are already trying to get around the roundabout. So that might be slowing you down if you're in the Tumon area, trying to make your way around the roundabout there, trying to get down into Tumon, trying to get around to the backside of Guam Memorial Hospital. If you're wondering why there's a delay, that's it. 8:14. How about some weather here today, Ray? Yeah, let's do some weather today. Mostly sunny, with a daytime high about 86 degrees over the next couple of days. We'll see heat indexes around 92 degrees. What else is there? We got the winds 14 to 17 miles an hour. Gonna get gusty over the next couple of days. That's the remnants of Sanvu coming through here, bringing wind, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of rain. There's that Domino's Pizza again. What was I saying? Partly cloudy and overnight lows tonight. Thankfully, I was speaking in this direction, instead of looking at you while I'm doing the weather. Partly cloudy tomorrow night, partly sunny on Friday. Sunset tonight is going to be at 6:35. Hashtag tell the others. News and weather together on The Point.
Happy day. This is Claire Manglona from Security Title with an important warning. Wire fraud is real, and home buyers and sellers are one of the biggest targets, even on Guam. When sending money by wire transfer, be sure to confirm the wire instructions by phone, not email. In this case, it's good to be suspicious and know who you're dealing with. Let the professionals at Security Title work with you to minimize loss due to wire fraud. We are here to help.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they will continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $4,100 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 671-475-4545, Upper Tumon 671-647-5626, or in Dededo 671-633-4473.
What happens? 8:16 in the morning. Ray Gibson Show brought to you by Guam Regional Medical City. Almost said facility again. It's where my brain's at on Wednesday. Guam Regional Medical City. They are your healthcare partner. Also being brought to you by the guys over at APL, American President Lines. A global presence with a local home.
Bringing you closer to the action. Any speaker, anytime. Watch and listen live on ThePOINT.gu.
8:17 in the morning, the Ray Gibson Show. Do we have any optometrists in the client pile here? We got to... No. I'm putting this picture. It is, I don't know, maybe 10, 11 feet away from where Donna's eyes are. And I've got this picture up on the screen because I wanted to put it on the air. And she's like, wow, who's that in the picture? I suppose Governor Gutierrez and Monty Mesa from GPO. And she's like... No, who's the woman in the picture? I said, that's not a woman. That's Monty Mesa from GPO, for heaven's sakes. I was hoping to talk with former Governor Gutierrez. Well, I've been starting fights all morning one way or the other.
Now I can't go to GPO. He's going to be like, did you just call me a woman?
Well,
like,
but you got to get your eyes done.
I don't want to.
Okay.
Check Island Eye.
So you know what I feel like? I feel like the wife. You know, I just go where the guy's got a hearing problem and the husband's always going, what? And the wife has to repeat herself 18 times.
I can see it now that it's on.
Now that it's closer to you.
Yeah.
Former Governor Gutierrez, Monty Mesa, they're in Japan right now. There's another one of these trips that just came up. I was hoping that Unc would be back by today, but it doesn't look like it. Maybe on there. They're on a bus going somewhere. I don't know if they're headed back to Narita City or what. I'll find out. But it could be some good things coming in from Japan based on this trip. 8:18 in the morning. Speaking of things that are of an international nature, I want to bring in Sela Chong on the radio. She's on too, right?
Line 2.
From the Guam Community
Morning,
College.
Sela.
Good morning, Sela. Always nice to hear from you. And we've got another exciting round of buffets, the Asian culinary buffets over at GCC, right?
Yes, hello.
Off a day. And so what are we, now it's Thai this week, right?
Yes, Thailand.
What are we eating?
So we have papaya salad for appetizer, and then we have like about 4 entrees. We have veggie pad thai. We have the beef satay, which is on skewers, and then we have flasa fish cake, and we have one more thing.
Chicken curry, it says.
Oh, chicken curry, yes.
Okay,
and then
so wait, I want to register a complaint already. I want my pad thai to have chicken in it, and I want my pad thai to have shrimp. Can I?
No.
No. No. Sorry, we don't make that. Go talk to the chef.
Pad thai.
So vegetable pad thai. Now, Stella and I know each other, and she knows that I'm heavy on proteins. Not too crazy about tofu. Not too crazy about veggie stuff. I suppose I'll be able to survive that though. Fish cakes, rice. Is that the jasmine rice that we're going to be having with that? Or is it plain old Cal Rose?
No, it's jasmine.
Very, very nice. Beef.
And then our dessert is the tapioca Thai tea.
Did you guys make everything that goes in that?
Yes.
Even the tapioca parts?
Yep, I literally just finished all the tapioca, and it was. I think I'm boba'd out.
Boba'd out. Is it possible to boba out? Wait. What is the process of that? Just if you can, for enlighten our listeners, what is the process of being able to? I don't even know what tapioca comes from, but how do you get it into a point where we can boba that and put it into tea?
I think you use tapioca starch. I actually bought the pre-made boba, but you still have to boil it for quite a long time just because you have to break down the starch up until the very inside. But you boil it for I would say an hour, and then you have to ice bath it. So put it in ice water just to cool it down, and that gives it its chewy texture. Mm-hmm. And then after you would put sugar to sweeten it up.
Perfect. Now, so all of this here from the salad and the entrees, and you get all of them. You don't have to make a choice. All of the entrees and the tapioca tea. That's only $10, right?
Yes, all $10. Also, there's no nuts in any of them. So for those that are allergic, they don't need to worry about that. We do have peanuts on the side in a Ziploc bag. So for those that do want the peanuts, they can add them in if they want.
Oh, okay, all right. So it'll come along as a treat on the side. Wheat, soy, milk, eggs, tree nuts, peanuts, fish, and shellfish were all used or may have been used as ingredients in here. So if you've got those specific allergies, then maybe wait out until next week. And wait a second, is there a next week?
Yes, next week is actually the last week. It's Korea.
It's okay, Korea. Okay, now I want you to call me when it's Korea, okay? Because every once in a while I get somebody that I don't know, but I want you to call in specifically because you are half Korean and you'll be able to use all of the fancy words.
No, I think the people representing Korea should be able, because they know their menu best.
Oh, wait. So you're kind of in a particular lane on this buffet?
Yes, so for our class, it's Pacific Asian cuisine. So we'll use every Asian country will all be assigned a certain one, and it's a group. So I actually have Thailand is a group of 3. I'm just the one calling in, and then other people are in charge of Korea or in charge of China. Yeah. Okay,
real quick, how do people get their hands on this chow?
You just head to GCC and the MPA. We actually, I would say to come early just because we already have 100 pre-orders. And
whoa, easy now. There's already 100 pre-orders? We just started. The conversation's only been on for 4 minutes.
Yeah, but we made enough for 200 plates, so I'd say there's about just only 100 plates left.
So get in there fast. GCC, can people pre-order on the phone now, or that's it? It's over. If you want this, you got to show up at what, 11?
Yes, 11 to 12:30.
Okay.
I'm not. I don't think you'll be able to pre-order anymore. However, you can pre-order for Korea next week if you text Chef Paul.
Okay, and can you send me the text number for him, and I'll put that on. We'll talk about it on the radio. So today, 11 until 12:30, or until they're sold out, and it's going to happen fast. This is the best food deal on Guam. All of that food is only $10. Now, while I got you on the line, you want to do any shouts, specifically Mika, Mason, and Mayumi?
Yes, my family. I love you guys.
8:23 in the morning, Stella. I'm sure the feeling is mutual. I'll talk to you soon. Have a fantastic day and enjoy the Thailand buffet over at the Guam Community College. 888-8255-888-TALK is the telephone number. And still plenty to talk about today. We got still celebrity birthdays. I haven't even gone over the list this morning, but I'll get around to doing that before too much longer. In the meantime, I wanted to continue some of these conversations with Cousin Troy from over at Candit. Buenas and half a day, cuz. How you doing?
Hi, Buenas. Good morning and peace be with you. I don't have a lot of time because I'm kind of rushing out, but down to have any conversation.
Oh, down to have any conversation. Well, there's anything that we can talk about here, up to and including the expected, unexpected, disappointing, but somewhat not disappointing no-show from the governor and Josh Tenori over at the legislature yesterday.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's disappointing that the lieutenant governor didn't show up. I mean, it's not really surprising that the governor didn't. I think she's just, while I'm sure she can explain her plans away, she's just got this arrogance about her. I don't know. But the lieutenant governor, who's, smart and nice and all of that stuff, he really had an opportunity to shine here and to just show up to the legislature. And if he's worried about Therese Talahi and Chris Barnett running against him, this was the perfect opportunity for him to go down there.
But oh my God, is that just the silliest reason that we can't have any amount of progress here in what we're trying to get done here on Guam? Oh, we need a new hospital, and we need to get the best and brightest of us together. If for no other reason to say we're not the best and brightest when it comes to building hospitals, but we're going to talk about locations, we're going to talk about funding for this. That we are good at. So let's get everybody together and not worry that we might be political competitors in another 3.5 years.
These guys are under political siege right now. They're so whenever the governor or lieutenant governor go out in public, what they have to contend with are questions about not just the hospital at a hospital hearing, but the media is going to be there. They're going to be asked about pay raises and retroactive pay raises and lump sum payments and what's going on with recruitment over at the police department. There are a range of issues for which, and the 22% general pay plan. All of these things are sort of coming to a head for the administration, and they're feeling the heat. And you can see it in their responses. They're getting agitated and they're getting messy.
Well, I thought it was interesting the response from the administration on just their reaction to the raises. Results warrant raises. The results speak louder than rhetoric. Guaranteed that came from Carlo Branch's word processor. But I thought it was interesting. It followed the usual the movements of reactions. Admit nothing, deny everything, make counter accusations. And now what is this? We wonder how often individual raises or contract increases are announced by the Committee on Rules or its leadership. And I, as somebody in the media business, I kind of appreciate that, though. Is there a there? So the legislature, the Adelup is saying, okay, yeah, this is something that we've done all of these years. Is it possible that the same thing may be happening over at the legislature under your own very noses?
You know why? So I would care about that story, if the chair of the Committee on Rules, Chris Barnett, if I asked him for the information and he waited 4 or 5 days to give it to me. That's when I would be interested in that story. I wouldn't be interested if I asked him and an hour later he was like, here you go, here's all our pay raises. You know what I mean? The issue isn't necessarily the raises, but it's what they're hiding. Are you hiding something? And if you take 4 full working days on a FOIA to submit only what we ask for, understanding that we're looking for a story on pay raises, you're hiding something.
Well, but the last line of this communication says, as required by Guam law, the staffing pattern for the Office of the Governor is posted quarterly on the governor's website at governor.guam.gov./staffing. These latest actions were available online for public viewing for nearly 3 weeks.
So check this out. And someone asked me recently, like, are you going soft on Calvo because you've been saying nice things about Calvo? And I hate that because, it's not that I want to say these nice things about Eddie Calvo. It's that when you do the comparisons, Eddie Calvo is just a far better governor, far and away. And here's one of those instances. In the Calvo administration, nearly 10 years ago, he put up an online staffing pattern that was in real time based on the data inputted into the Department of Administration's HR portal. And the Leon Groh administration took down that portal around the same time that they gave out these raises. So yeah, they're required by law to post it every quarter or whatever that is. But is that transparency? No, not when you took down the portal that existed that showed real-time data.
Big difference.
Huge difference.
Yeah. So here we are in terms of transparency. We want to do the absolute minimum and replace a system that we could update in real time so everybody could see what was going on.
Yeah, that's it's just such a gigantic difference. One of the things that you were talking about deflection earlier, one of my favorite deflections with this particular issue is that, I was one of the people that got the pay raises back in 2014, and so was Phil Leon Gross, the current editor of the Guam Daily Post.
Well, I remember those. And then they said, okay, well, you got to give those back. And so in order, and in many cases it had been spent. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the amount that we gave you. We're going to give you another check, and then you bounce that back over to us, and that will zero things out. As BJ Cruz said, that's one of the best indicators of why he came up with the phrase, ad loop is where math goes to die. I remember having the conversation on the air with Arthur Clark going, wait a second, you guys don't actually believe this, do you?
No, we didn't. We didn't know what to say,
What, do you think people will get it? I'm like, yeah, anybody that can add will go, no, this is not going to zero anything out.
That was one of those instances where we were caught with our hands in the cookie jar.
But here's the other thing. You were able to at least be part of that conversation because you were still in the administration. There were some, including your cousin, your other cousin, that was in the administration, left the administration, and was not in any of these payback schemes. And as far as I know, he may still have that money in the bank, waiting for somebody to send him a note that says he's got to come clean on it.
Well, there's a letter that exists from the former Attorney General that told us that we actually the government of Guam had no legal authority to demand back or to take back the pay raises. They were legal. They were when you receive property, there's due process involved in taking the property back, and so those notes that we signed to the government of Guam, those were truly politically motivated. Like, we just did it because the public was in an uproar. But here's the difference between then and now, right? And this is why I love the deflection, because some people on the post and our comments, they're posting those stories that show Phil and I got those pay raises, and now we're associated with media that are criticizing the current pay raises. And my entire attitude on it is, it's your turns now, MRFers.
Yep. Well, yeah, that's karma. Sometimes it takes a long time for her to wheel around, but eventually the karma will out, and people will get a chance to see what it is that they got to be held accountable for. Might not even know that it's karma that's whacking them. Anyway, 8:32 in the morning. It has been an interesting morning so far. Some conversations that I'm trying to get out on the prison front page of the Guam Daily Post has a story about a get-together that they had at the legislature with people from the Department of Corrections, and Chris Barnett again asking some questions about the facility and its ability to move forward with the clientele that is in there now. They don't have enough employees. They've got too many clients, too many inmates in there, and they've got a facility that was obsolete the day it was opened back in the day. We need a new facility in there, and we need to work together somehow to deport any possible deportables, to make it easier for the Department of Corrections to do the job with the personnel that they have. And then we start talking about adding to their ranks. I guess the point of the question is, what can we do as responsible members of the community, and I would say media representatives of the community, what can we do to create the conversation? As much as we need a new hospital, we need a new prison. We absolutely need a new prison.
Eagles Field?
There's prison at Eagles Field. Starting to sound like DeSantis.
No, I have a better idea. Since the governor wants her hospital at Eagles Field, so that put the prison at Eagles Field, and then put the prison right next door to her at Hospital Point.
I get it. So, no, you misspoke. You want to put the hospital at Lalu at Eagles Field, but we'll put the prison on the property over there. I think that would make it would be a great tourist attraction. It was and I got to say, I was very happy because I was able to get in front of something when they handed over the old Agana police station to who'd they give that to? They gave it to Sam, didn't they? And they started putting up these big poles for which to put fences with concertina wire on. And I said, stop, cease and desist right now. That is the dumbest idea in the whole wide world. We've got thousands and thousands of tourists that flock to the capital city. Virtually every picture taken from a certain angle will have the Paseo de Susana, and we'll have the azotea and the bandstand and all of this stuff. And off in the distance, you'll be able to make out a prison facility in the downtown Agatiña area. I said the two are incompatible. Do something else with that piece of property. And they finally figured out that they can do what they needed to do without putting up ugly, DOC-looking fences with concertina wire on them.
But Yuri, I'm so sorry. I have to go. I'm running kind of late for something. But I love you guys so much, and God bless you.
Oh, good luck. It's okay. You don't have. This is not the airport. You don't have to announce your departure.
God bless you, man.
It's okay. Cousin Troy on the line. I gotta go. You know, let me give you a piece of advice, kids. If you're in a conversation and you've got to get off of it, one of the things that you might want to do is go to your phone's settings and just put it into airplane mode. And because what will happen?
What's gonna happen?
Well,
Ray?
it is you'll get a message that says that you lost the connection was dropped, not that the guy hung up on you.
Oh, I see.
Not that you got disconnected.
Thank you.
No problem. Always happy to help. Anyway, so 8:35 in the morning. I suppose maybe a good time to throw to Donna and news after these.
For all your real estate needs, call the professionals at Hoffaday Realty. Jody, Saran, Libby, and Lolita, and they'll take care of you on every step of the real estate process. No worries. Just contact Hoffaday Realty at 588-4232 or 588-HOFFA or email them at hoffadayrealty@gmail.com. They're at 426 Challenge San Antonio, Suite 204 in Tamuning. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 4. Hoffaday Realty for all your real estate needs.
KFC's Double Down is back?
Double down, double down, double down, double down. Chicken, bacon, chicken, cheese. Double down.
Double down on KFC's Double Down.
Now on Guam for a limited time and available for delivery. WhatsApp 300-3278 and order online at kfcguam.com. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Studio time 8:36. Ray Gibson Show. Actually, we are going to go till 10 this morning. We are going to go till 10. I made a programming notice earlier this morning. We were having some technical issues it would have been fine with me, except for the fact that I would have had to talk for 55 minutes an hour because it would have been monumentally difficult to line up the program with the commercials and whatnots. But between Real Joe and Albert Juan from over at the Boss, they were able to get everything going. So we can remain on the air for the entire 4-hour duration of a regular Wednesday Ray Gibson show.
Peak as most, okay.
But here's the tricky part. I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about. I'd only prep for 3 hours. Yeah.
We'll make news, man.
Dude, we already made news. We've already made news. It was earlier this morning that Simon Sanchez made a couple of announcements, and one that he is going to take kind of a position on the Saipan version of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. Kind of a off-island expert. They built that in, and he is going to be the representative, the off-island representative to their CCU. And frankly, it makes a whole lot of sense in my mind. And then we got he also made the announcement about how they're taking somebody over at the Guam Power Authority, putting her in a number 2 position out there. So that when it's time for JB, who has got his ample years of service, and I think stellar service to the people of Guam, running things over at the Power Authority. When it's time for him to retire, he will leave in place a really good system, and somebody that's actually helped bring that system to where it is today. So I'm delighted with all of that. Congratulations to Ms. Sublime. Now it's time for our last big look at news and headlines with Donna D. Donna, what happened?
DOC personnel gave a presentation during a roundtable yesterday saying that one of the reasons that contraband has been found in the prison is because of a shortage of officers. Despite several pay increases, the reason for the lack of staff comes from officer burnout and the lengthy process involved in becoming a prison officer, with some who are currently in the process having first applied in 2020. The 153 officers currently employed have to be responsible for about 820 inmates, which is an increase from the 680 at the start of the year. And voting ends tomorrow for the Telling Tales with Trash recycled art exhibit, which features sculptures crafted by students from garbage they collected in the community in celebration of Earth Month. The sculptures are on display at GPO and will be open for the public viewing until this Friday. To cast a vote, scan the QR code on the bottom of each art piece. Winners receive cash prizes that will go toward their respective schools. And Pulitzer Prize-winning photojournalist Manny Crisostomo is back on Guam to bring an interactive experience and his new book project to the Kaha Gallery. Crisostomo says his passion was always in documentary and the emotions that the medium helps bring out in people. Check out the exhibition Monday to Friday from 9 to 4 until the 1st of May at the Kaha Gallery at the Terlahi Building in Hagåtña. And that was your last look at local headlines on The Point.
Right.
Now back to Ray.
20 away from 9 o'clock in the morning. And as I said, we've got people fighting here. Simon and Ismail online, going after, some Simon responding to some comments that Ismail has made online on the Facebook side. Scroll up if you want to see some of that stuff. And you remember when I was talking with Peter Skro and Doug Moylan in the first hour of the program, and then in the next hour of the program, Peter Santos
the
called
attorney
in.
Portion of the
show.
Yeah.
And so he called in and kind of besmirched Peter Skro in the conversation, and Peter Skro wrote back in an email that I'm copied on. So I assume he wants me to bring it up on the radio that he thought that it was crass and unprofessional, et cetera, et cetera. I might bring the whole thing to you at some point here this morning. But all that based on the idea that Peter Skro, looking at the lease and looking at the signature tabs at the end, says maybe this woman, Carrie Ann Camacho, is not vetted and in a position of authority to sign off on the Department of the Navy. Peter Santos disagrees with it and said so. But in what Peter Skro says is a flippant and unprofessional manner. All right, so they're going to fight that out amongst themselves, or not. I don't know. I know Peter sent him a copy of his curricula vitae. In 20 minutes, it'll be 9 o'clock in the morning on the Ray Gibson Show. Catherine, hold on a second. I got to get through this part with Donna D. This is the part that I like to refer to as the celebrity birthdays portion of the show. Are you ready? All right, celebrity number one. She is 90 years old. And I believe is one of the few people that was able to sue the National Enquirer and win. They made her out to be a drunk, and she said that's absolutely not true, and I believe won that case. Carol Burnett is 90 years old.
Carol.
She's not a drunk?
Thanks for the laughs.
No.
She's not a soft.
She was just what a great... She could sing, and she could act. She did maybe one of the best variety shows of all time. Mm-hmm. And you can go to TikTok. Yes, I'm going to say TikTok again. You can go to TikTok where there are people that have taken bits and pieces of the old Carol Burnett show, just the individual skits and stuff, and put them online. And they're just as funny, if not more today, than they were when they ran new back in the day, back when the Carol Burnett show was on Saturday night on KUAM and black and white. So happy 90th birthday, Carol Burnett, and thanks for the laugh. Jet Li, the Kung Fu Master, is 60 years old.
Oh, the Chinese Bruce Lee.
Exactly.
Bruce Lee was Chinese.
I think they're
He's
all
from Hong Kong.
Melania Trump. Happy birthday.
How old is she?
First lady, 53 years old.
Oh.
Happy birthday.
Tom, do we have any pictures of her? We should, right? There should be somewhere
in my wallet.
Looking to see if there's anybody else whose name I recognize. Channing Tatum from the Magic Mike movies, The Lost City. Channing turns 43 years old today, and you might not believe it, but your wife has the hots for him. We've got a couple of other things that are worth celebrating. This used to be a bigger deal. Administrative Professionals Day, a.k.a. Secretary's Day.
Oh, they don't call it secretary anymore?
It's offensive,
I don't think
man.
anybody has secretaries anymore.
Offensive.
I don't think there's secretaries anymore. I think it's just office people day, right? Catherine Castro from the Chamber of Commerce is on the line. Welcome to the program, Kat. It's good to have you.
Good morning. Hey, I love Carol Burnett. I think she is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Well, happy birthday to Carol.
I think about the celebrities from like when we were growing up, and just thinking what a gift they were to us. We grew up with the Carol Burnett show. Tom Jones had his own variety program.
Oh yeah.
Donnie and Marie Osmond, they were on television. That was Grandma's favorite show. I mean, the kids these days, they got trash, right? They got teenage pregnancies on MTV, the Kardashians, the idiot wives of wherever they happen to be. We had we had great television. Johnny Carson, The Tonight Show, and there has never been, since he has been off the late night television, there has never been a program that I thought and another late night talk show that was worthy of taking the place of the king of late night. I think that's fantastic. So Administrative Secretary's Day, and I didn't call you about this, but I am going to ask because you're in charge of the Chamber of Commerce. Is there still an administrative person's day, a Secretary's Day? Is that still something?
I believe so. I think that, we are always, how can we function without really, really great administrative staff, right? So I absolutely love our chamber team, and I think I could not be where we're at and provide the great services that we provide to our members without our great chamber team. So,
I can't disagree. I'm a beneficiary of the quality of the people that you have under you at the. But I mean, back in the old days, I mean, maybe it's because it's just changed. We politicized the name of it, Administrative Professionals Day. It's Secretary's Day. There's nothing wrong with being a secretary, right? And there were times where you couldn't get a place to sit in buffets and fine dining and even the dinner halls for galas and things like that. People would do Secretary's Day with prizes, and we go the Australian Thunder from Down Under guys.
I remember that.
Augie, what's Augie's name from Hawaii? Joe, what's his name? Augie Tulba. Augie Tulba would come out and do Secretary's Day shows, in the ballroom over at the Onward Agania back in the day. It just seems it's not that as big a deal now as it was then.
It's just a little bit different. I think, the times have changed, and I think that we still recognize our administrative professionals. We take them out. We do nice things, but we also just do it in a different way.
Well, okay. I don't know. I kind of like the spectacle of the days, but can you think of another reason to bring back the Australian Thunder from Down Under?
I'm not going to comment.
It is also Get Organized Day, International Chernobyl Disaster Remembrance Day. It actually happened, and that is something that they're going to be dealing with for a million years. It actually came up as kind of a headline in the Ukraine-Russian war because they were getting a little bit too close with the heated action to the old Chernobyl area. Guide Dog Day, Noise Awareness Day, blah, 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 blah. Looking to see if there's something fun here that we can work on. I don't see it. But today, just for those of you that are in the chamber or would like to get kind of a 10,000 mile view of what's going on with the government of Guam, specifically the Department of Revenue and Taxation, at the membership meeting today, you have got Daphne Shimizu, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Actually, we do have the Department of Revenue and Taxation scheduled to speak. Unfortunately, Daphne had to rush off on a plane this morning. But we do have representation, so we're looking forward to their presentation.
Anything that the chamber is wanting from the Department of Revenue and Taxation? I recall, hosting you in the studio with me once upon a time, and it didn't have to do with so much with Rev and Tax obligations as much as it was ABC, the Department of Alcohol and Beverage Control. It seems to me that there is an opportunity to widen the opportunities to make money for many of these businesses that still do a whole lot of delivery business, grab and go stuff, where they might be able to make a couple of dollars by selling drinks, cocktails and beers and things like that, along with the to-go meals. That was a companion to a couple of other interests that the chamber and others were trying to promote. This is back in the COVID time. Are there other things that you guys are looking at at Rev and Tax to make things easier, streamline the operation?
Well, certainly. Obviously, we're always looking at how is our government looking at modernization so that it is easier and more efficient for everybody. And we've through the years, and I've been with the chamber, almost 27 years, but we have championed the Department of Revenue and Taxation to the legislature, and we've said this is the revenue and taxation is a lifeline for the government of Guam, and of any agency, they really need to be the ones to have the resources to be able to enforce what they're supposed to be doing, right? And so we're looking at what what the department is doing as far as their modernization. We are looking at how they are making things more efficient and easier, not only for themselves but for the community of Guam. Are they making it easier for people to pay taxes? Is it, you know, when you apply for a business license, you know, that's still an issue, right? And where are they with that whole program and that whole process, right?
And what about building permits? There was a big slowdown in that not that long ago. I thought Carl Gutierrez was supposed to fix.
It's still an issue. So we want to know like where they're at, what's going on, and so that this is the opportunity. We're a friendly audience, you know. So you know,
for the most part,
that's basically
for the most part, yep.
For the most part, yeah.
You remember what was the name of that guy when United first came in? Quentin. Oh, you remember Quentin came in with his boss, and everybody ripped into him because they weren't flying the right kind of 777 out of Hawaii to Guam. And I thought, welcome to Guam. Enjoy your ride while you're here. 8:49 in the morning. Catherine Castro from the chamber, and no shortage of activities that are going to be coming up, and delighted to help you guys announce the 99th anniversary of the Chamber of Commerce. You guys got a big Vogue Gala that's going to be coming up on the 6th.
Well, thank you so much, and I really wanted to say thank you to ThePOINT, and Ray, you've just been a fantastic supporter of the Chamber, so we really appreciate that, and we do have our 99th anniversary event coming up on May 6th, and we're looking forward to it. We've got a new venue. And some really, fun things that are planned just to have a nice time to celebrate our members that are, they have their own significant milestone anniversaries for their service to Guam. So we will be celebrating them. And, this is just the 1 year, just one more year to the centennial. So as you can imagine, we are planning some really, really good things moving forward. So we're very excited. We will, continue to do what we do, but we'll have some fun along the way.
Well, otherwise, what will Ernie Galito and Frank Campillo do? If Ernie's not planning galas and Frank's not planning golf tournaments, I don't know what else those guys would be up to. Kat, it's always fun talking with you, getting caught up. And so members of the chamber meeting is going to be today. Where's it going to be at? What time do people need to show up? Non-members can go as well. But I tell you what, as having been a associate member of the chamber, it doesn't cost you all that much to get in there, and you get most of the benefits of membership anyway.
Yeah, so it will be at the Westin at the Somnac Ballroom, and the doors open at 11:15. We do anticipate a big crowd, and there's another event happening, so we're encouraging everybody to either arrive early or carpool. So we're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thanks,
yeah. It's my favorite parking lot in the world over there. Okay, I got you.
They're good people over there.
No, absolutely. 9 minutes away from the top of the hour. I'm sure there was one other thing I needed to ask you. I might have to do this offline.
We'll talk to you soon about what we did on the Hill.
Oh, that's right. There was a delegation. You guys sent a delegation up to Washington, D.C.
Yeah. We can talk later. We'll schedule a time to come in.
Well, tell you what, I'm going to put you on hold here and have Joe pick up the conversation and see if we can set something up for next week and get a total debrief. I know you guys are going to be busy in preparation for the gala, but Joey, grab the line while I'm talking and see if we can set something next week up with her and a couple of the delegates that went off there to Washington D.C. That was the other picture that I saw out there in the socials, in the social media. 8:52 and change on the Ray Gibson Show as we make our way through. Looking at to make sure that for the most part, I got a lot of the news. I was originally thinking that this was going to be a short program because, we were having some technical issues. But Joe solved all of that, so it looks like I've got another hour ahead of me, which means you've got another hour of the program ahead of you as well. Some of the comments that we're getting on the table on the Facebook side, haven't had a chance to look at the YouTube. But Mike Grace Bloss is all over the place, reminding me that the guy's name was Augie Tuba. Absolutely right. That's incredible. That was a nice show. Ripley's Believe It or Not. That was a nice show. Thanks very much for bringing up some of the memories on that. And you might be wondering where you can find them. I'm sure that there's places on YouTube that you can get it. But I don't know. YouTube is a completely different viewing experience for me as TikTok is. And I'm going to admit to liking that much more. Jose Martinez has been pretty direct in his comments. It was so much easier to be governor when we controlled the press conference and reporters during the pandemic. He's pretending to quote Governor Leon Guerrero on why she and the lieutenant governor don't speak to anybody but her hired press. Ooh, hired press. Is that still a thing? I'd referred to a couple outfits around here as state-run media from time to time, but what with the wind down on COVID, it's not as obvious as it used to be. I'm thinking about it now. Are there outlets that could be giving them a little bit of a harder time in some of the things instead of saying the governor is a no-show? Wow. Maybe dig a little bit deeper and why the governor was in a no-show. Why was that? Why could she not be there? And maybe the reason is because nobody outside of us and you listening and making your comments here in the social media. All right, what do we got here that got Simon all ticked off? Ismail says your power bill will be 17% cheaper. It's an illusion. Remove the $100 credit, then say your power bill will be 17% lower. But is it really? If your power bill used to be $300 and it went up to $600, that 17% means squat. Simon Sanchez responds, your power bill will be 17% cheaper in addition to the power credit. The only delusion is your own. And I don't know that there's a whole lot of back and forth. Hi, Leslie St. Nicholas. Nice to see you online. Sandra Rages chimed in, came in to watch the show. Et Napati is there. Biba Simon Sanchez says, Peter Santos. Adora Tudela, no, but nobody does anything about it until everybody knows it's abused. I have about GovGuam car plates. Are they allowed to be used for personal or family use? To which Nick Perlosky says no. To which one? Personal or family use? Oh, you mean GovGuam car plates. Yellow plates.
Yeah.
Oh.
Can you drop your kids off and go grocery shopping and all that good stuff? Yeah, I think you can. As long as nobody complains.
Yeah, well, what I've done in my life is when I've seen somebody, and there was first day of Governor Gutierrez's administration back in the day, first day one, he came out with a ruling that was enforced, I want to say, by his chief of staff, and the ruling was, I don't want to see yellow plates at the Micronesia Mall unless you're there on business. I don't want to see yellow plates at Kmart unless you're there on some kind of government business. And if you are, it should be with some kind of logo on the side of the car. But I don't know that anybody is enforcing that kind of thing now. There was when the guy, what was his name? When the guy Eric Borja, when he was at EPA, he made a gift of several brand new high-riding pickup trucks, good-looking rides, and he made a big deal about giving them from the EPA using recycling revolving fund monies to members of the mayoral community. And naturally, we kind of got hot and bothered by that. And I say we, there were some members of the media that pursued it beside me and said, well, excuse me, wait, that comes from money that's supposed to be out there to be used to, sort out our solid waste issues and pick up litter and clean up on the streets. And the answer was, no. We're going to give these, the mayors will be used to be able to support some of the environmental and trash issues on the island. That's all they're going to be used for. And by then, everybody heard that. And I started getting pictures sent to me of the mayors in car line with their vehicles, of the mayors rolling around in those special, only to be used for environmental and recycling. Never mind, they're supposed to be used specifically for recycling, and they were out there at the gas stations getting hot dogs and all kinds of other places that had nothing to do with the recycling revolving fund or any of that stuff. To the degree that they were held to the fire. Look, they were given free pickup trucks by the EPA, and I don't know that they've ever really come out with the final rules on how to use money in the recycling revolving fund. That would take a degree of research research, and I'm just way too lazy to do that. I'm sorry. You know what? And anymore, it's not lazy. I got to admit to this. I will admit freely to being absolutely hooked on social media these days. When I'm not here and I'm not doing what I'm up to and the research that's required to do a daily show, the rest of the time I'm spending Facebook, because I want to see. There's amazing numbers of the stories that you can get from watching social media. I want to find out the genesis of this. A U.S. government vehicle assigned to Anderson Air Force Base for official use only. If you suspect misuse or abuse, 366-2239. Oh, that's the way we ought to do it. That's the way we ought to do it.
A hotline.
Any yellow plate vehicle on
We're
Guam.
sorry. We can't take your call.
Yes,
right now.
ought to have a hotline on it. Yeah. 366. What was it? What was the 113? What was the hot 311?
Oh, that was a narc line.
The narc line. You remember for the COVID
If you want
times?
a narc on your neighbors, press 1.
Oh my God, 850. It was such a beautiful idea and failed so badly in its commission. Right? Is if you wanted to get information about anything that was going on, government's response to COVID-19, what you or your family were supposed to do, where you might be able to get yourself a shot, where you might be able to get yourself a test. All you had to do was pick up the phone and dial 311 and listen for the announcements, and then, I don't know, the system broke and nobody could ever get through to talk to an actual human being about how this was supposed to work. There it is, our government dollars at work. 888-825-5888-TALK. Hey, but wait, there's more. An entire other hour of the Ray Gibson Show, what I like to refer to as the small talk portion. Love to find out what thoughts you've got in your head, and I'll try to get those out on the radio. For official use only, that's what they need, is a telephone number for people to call if they suspect misuse. Oh, my God, Fox News already playing.
Lawmakers need to take action now to raise the debt ceiling.
Economic catastrophe. That's what Secretary Yellen says will happen if Congress doesn't pad the current debt ceiling of more than $31 trillion. Likely effects, she says, will include eroding credit for businesses, higher payments on cars and mortgages for consumers, not to mention job cuts. The U.S. hit the debt limit back in January, with Secretary Yellen saying then the money to pay the nation's bills would run out by June.
Fox's Gernal Scott. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has proposed raising the debt ceiling, but it's tied it to spending cuts, something President Biden has said is not negotiable. The Taliban says it's killed the senior ISIS leader behind the August 2021 suicide bombing outside the Kabul airport that killed 13 U.S. service members and about 170 Afghans. U.S. officials say the leader was killed in early April as the Taliban conducted a series of operations against ISIS. At the time, the Taliban wasn't aware of the identity of the person they killed. Hours after making his run for re-election official, President Biden spoke before union members in Washington, making his case for a second term.
Through our policies, the pace of inflation has been coming down now for 9 months in a row, but there's more to go. It's slowed by 45%, but we have more to do.
Former President Trump, who last year announced he's seeking another term, reacted to the president's announcement.
You could take the 5 worst presidents in American history and put them together, and they would not have done the damage Joe Biden has done to our nation in just a few short years. Not even close.
The White House says President Biden has created 12 million jobs since he took office, but his poll numbers remain low. America is listening to Fox News.
Hafa-day, this is Josh here at APO. Our expertise and extensive network can help you grow your business and reach out to more global markets. As a responsible carrier, APL is also committed to a sustainable future, whether it's protecting the environment or investing our efforts in giving back to the community. Our dedicated teams in Guam, Saipan, and on U.S. mainland are here to support you. Call 588-4651 or visit www.apo.com.
For all your real estate needs, call the professionals at Hafa-day Realty. Jody, Saran, Libby, and Lolita, and they'll take care of you on every step of the real estate process. No worries. Just contact Hafa-day Realty at 588-4232 or 588-HAFA or email them at hafadayrealty@gmail.com. They're at 426 Challenge San Antonio, Suite 204 in Tamuning. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 4. Hafa-day Realty for all your real estate needs.
Now,
The man accused of killing the founder of Cash App in San Francisco has appeared in court.
The attorney for Nima Momeni, who's accused of killing Cash App founder Bob Lee in San Francisco, said prosecutors' failure to turn over discovery to her is why Momeni wasn't ready to enter a plea Tuesday. But she says he will eventually plead not guilty. District Attorney Brooke Jenkins says the defense attorney was just unprepared and they've sent her plenty of evidence.
We do believe that there is video footage connected to this crime, and that we believe that we have sufficient evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Mr. Momeni murdered Bob Lee.
Jenkins says Lee was stabbed multiple times, including in the heart, and they found a bloody knife near the scene. Charging documents indicate Lee had some kind of relationship with Momeni's sister, and the two men had texted about her potential drug use. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
A New Hampshire man has lost his right to vote after posting a fake Craigslist ad. 30-year-old Michael Drowan has pled guilty to creating a false document. Prosecutors say the fake ad he created used a legislative candidate's phone number. Under the New Hampshire Constitution, anyone convicted of a willful violation of the state's election laws loses the right to vote in the state. The U.S. will have more electric battery manufacturing plants as the push for greener practices continues.
Both General Motors and Hyundai are planning new U.S. electric vehicle battery cell factories. GM and South Korea's Samsung SDI plan to invest more than $3 billion to build their new U.S. battery plant. The specific location hasn't been revealed. It would be GM's fourth joint venture battery cell factory. And Hyundai will partner with South Korea's SK to build a new battery manufacturing plant in Bartow County, Georgia. The batteries will supply Hyundai's U.S. assembly plants making electric vehicles.
Fox's Ginny Casola. Wall Street, the Dow lost 344, the NASDAQ down 238. I'm Lee Silasera. This is Fox News.
Burger King's new spicy chicken fries are now available for a limited time only. All white meat chicken fries, taken up a notch with spicy flavor and heat added to the breading. Your choice of the classic chicken fries or the new spicy chicken fries. Perfect for dipping in any of our delicious sauces. Add a side of mozzarella sticks and a refreshing Coca-Cola. Thank you, Guam, for 34 years. BK Tumanbay, Hagåtña, My Venezia Mall, and the airport. You rule.
Express yourself into the groove. The Guam Chamber of Commerce celebrates its 99th anniversary at the Dusatani Resort on May 6th with the theme of Madonna's Vogue. The Chamber's membership includes many corporations, large and small, entrepreneurs, and nonprofit organizations. Members play a key part in making Guam a star-bright place to live, work, and play. Let's congratulate the Guam Chamber of Commerce and its members on celebrating its 99th anniversary.
All the Lie, Ray Gibson Show, brought to you by the guys over at APL. That's short for American President Lines, a global presence with a local home, and the team over at Nissan, short for NissanGuam.com and the World Wide Web. I give you that because gas is still over $5 a gallon. Let your fingers in the keyboard do the walking and the talking. Get everything set up. And what do I need you to set up? A test drive to get yourself into one of these Nissan Frontiers. What's the big deal? Dude, it's a great ride, great truck. And you're going to see more of them on the road these days as people recognize just how much value they're getting for their money. Plus, how about this? You could win $1,000 in a test drive. We got grills, we got coolers, we got canopies, we got all kinds of stuff that just seem to go along with that whole kind of frontier lifestyle. And a great lifestyle because this thing has got all the power you need to be able to take it on the road, off the road. Mine came with big tires already, which I thought was pretty cool. I still don't kind of upset because the places where I want to use the four-wheel drive, the truck is already going, Pastumbi, you don't need four-wheel drive. You don't even need four-wheel drive high for this. Just keep going in regular mode, and you're going to be just fine. And I always am, but I'm waiting for the day where I'm going, okay, today we're doing 4L. But now, you're going to buy this thing. After the test drive, I almost guarantee that you're going to buy it. So when you do, don't worry about bringing in any down payment money or even a car in trade. They don't need it. There's no money down on this and plenty of other vehicles over at Nissan. And Nissan will cover the first 3 payments. Looking at the the calendar now. What is today? It's end of April. Let's call it May before we sign the paper. So no down payment. The May payment, forget about it. June, forget about it. July, it'll be August before you got to open your checkbook. Go get more details at nissanguam.com.
The Coconut Wireless is back. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Gibson Show, 8 after 9 o'clock in the morning. It's Wednesday, day I don't call hump day. This is because I am. Is my thing. I just try not to do the same thing twice. I don't like, repetition in my mind is the death of imagination. Write that down.
Okay.
Okay.
Like running on a treadmill?
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
Again.
Were you at the gym yesterday?
I saw you. I saw Rocky Martinez next to you. And
dude, yeah. I was feeling mighty. I felt like a safe, like in God's pocket. Who's that guy next to Ray? Who's that guy? Who's that punk on the second machine? That's Ray Gibson pretending he knows what he's doing. Let's go beat him up. Let's go kick his ass.
You look focused, though.
Wait. Is that Rocky Martinez next to him? Yeah. Did you know they're related? Rocky's my backer, bro.
Related.
He's my backer, bro. But it was nice to run on his shoulder, as it were, on the treadmill yesterday. And there was a part of me and because you know how I am, right? There was a part of me I wanted to show him different treadmill moves because I don't. You're right. I don't do the treadmill the same way. When I get there, there's different methods that I use. Number one, to get a good workout in, and number two, there's different workouts that I use to keep myself from going insane.
Interested, yeah.
So I start at 6 miles an hour, and every 1/10 of a mile, I add another 1/10 of a mile per hour in terms of speed. So by the time I get to 7 miles an hour, that's a mile, and then I go back and I start the thing all over again. So I was thinking about, hey, cousin Roki, you might want to try this while you're on the treadmill. And I realized that, there's a possibility if I give him some of the advice, what if I'd injured him? Just in front of the fight that he's going to have. He was doing great until he took treadmill running advice from his idiot cousin, Ray Gibson.
You would have been headlines everywhere, Ray.
Oh,
Ray
my
Gibson
God.
ruins chances for Guam.
Yeah, right? So literally, I kept my mouth shut. When you said I was focused, that's what I was focused on. I was focused on, maybe for the first time this year, keeping my big mouth shut. Anyway, at 10 after 9 o'clock in the morning, you got the telephone number. Don't be shy about using it. Got lots and lots to talk about. My buddy Bob Kelly is back in this time zone. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, and I just sent you a link to how we could just put a couple of inexpensive devices and solve the misuse of government vehicles.
Wait, hold on a second. Let me see if I got that's the link you just sent me. Cell sheet V230. Yeah. Hold on. I might need to send it to myself because this wants to open the PDF, and who's got time for all of that? I'll just send it to myself on my phone and open it that way. In a nutshell, what does it say? Is this what it is?
Well, it's a license plate. It's the same thing that's used by people for parking tickets and that are overdone and reviewing license plates and stuff all over the United States. And we don't need to use it necessarily for our local licenses unless people want to start doing that, and there are positives and negatives that we could spend a whole show on as far as privacy versus ability to catch people with expired licenses and people, the ones that get pulled over all the time by automation. But this, at least if you set it up with everything that's government-issued license plate and you drove around, you'd know where all the government vehicles are as long as you had somebody driving through the areas you wanted to survey.
Right. So it's an ALPR camera, fixed focal length lens, available 1.5 to 13 millimeters, high power.
There's about 5 or 6 competitors to it. It doesn't have to be this brand, but it's the technology I wanted to point out. You just buy these inexpensive cameras, put them on several vehicles, have them drive around through the areas of concern. You'd have a list of every vehicle that's parked wherever they're parked at where you drive through. They don't even have to write everything down. It would go into a computer database, and then they can send out the notices, why were you there?
Yeah. Okay, so I know you're mentally prepared for the conversation. I might not be, just off the cuff, but it feels a little big brothery.
Well, not okay. Well, then, if you don't want to have big brotherly watching where you drive your government vehicles, forget the rule and just trust people.
Right. Well, that's kind of what they're doing now. But you know, and the flip side of that, and I'm not crazy about the snitchy thing either. But Colin sent me through Messenger a picture of what they're doing on base. U.S. government vehicle assigned to Anderson Air Force Base and for official use only, and then they give you a phone number to call if you suspect misuse or abuse.
Well, and that would be a fine thing to use. I mean, that's also a possibility. I mean, I'm just saying there are ways to deal with it. And rather than having people taking the calls and somebody getting the messages and the messages get lost, you put one of these on, you've got a computerized record of the location, the time, the plate, everything is all solid. If you got call-ins, you may or may not get accurate information, where this will give you the accurate location, time of day, and the vehicle.
Interesting. At the concept level, more to talk about here. There was a story I was listening to on one of the right-wing bomb throwers where they were saying that there are places where they're using these in addition to speed detection. And determining now, this is where it gets to be real big brothery, is whether or not that vehicle even belongs in that place to begin with, because there's ways that they're using this technology now to be able to surveil for different reasons. Why the people's freedoms and being able to in the very least surveil their movements, and they're starting to see some kind of a backlash. There's an interesting picture I saw on social media of a guy, I believe in Australia, who climbed up on top of a utility pole and took a hammer to the surveillance camera that had been installed there. People are getting tired of this nanny state that is watching us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Okay, I pointed out that there are a lot of issues that we need to look at as we approach this for all vehicles. Mm-hmm. There are positives. You can pick up unregistered vehicles, stolen cars.
Oh, yeah.
The issues of where you point out that the druggies tend to have false license plates and so on. These things would flag and be immediately available. However, once you start tracking, if you were to put, say, 12 of these camera systems to record license plates on Guam for all license plates, they would be able to track what time Ray Gibson leaves his house, what time he gets to work, when he goes to the mall or whatever, because that is there. And when I'm in the States, you see little trailers with a great big set of cameras on them, and I know there's 3 or 4 stores that are major chains that use these in the parking lot, and they track everybody coming in and out of that parking lot with those cameras.
Yep.
And one reason they use it is, in some cases, I can tell you CVS and Walgreens in some cities, in some areas, have had humongous amounts of shoplifting. And not only do they do license plates, but they're putting facial recognition cameras at their doors. And if you've been a known shoplifter, it's going to ping when you walk in. Now,
so we can keep an eye on you. No, but you know, that private property, I don't have a problem with that on private property. You walk into a building that you and I control, there's a very high degree of possibility that there's going to be a camera that tracks you. The ability to start using facial recognition, very interesting. And my needs, I would do simplistic stuff. You know, I'd use that for green light running, speeding for sure. I'd like to put them, if we know that there is a whole lot of littering going on and dumping in certain places, I'd love to have one of these things that you know, you just put it at the entrance at a Two Lovers Point, either one of the entrances there, and just kind of keep track of who it is that's going in there. Government of Guam vehicles, private vehicles, buses, that kind of thing, and surveil who is watching it. And you know, it should be fairly evident here before too much longer if we've got these cameras looking at license plates, and maybe cameras they're looking at the cargo that is being carried. So license plate comes in and there's junk in the back of the truck, and it comes out on the other side, same license plate, but there's nothing in the truck. Well, maybe that's our dumper, and maybe there's something that we can do about that. There's creative ways to do this, and I don't know that that's an invasion of privacy when we start talking about people that are going to be preparing to commit a crime.
Yeah, but the problem is you can't just choose who you do it. So you end up having to screen everybody and use the information as needed. Also,
I'm going to make an AI, Bob. I'm going to make an AI that will take care of that. We'll run everything through an artificial intelligence screen and known ne'er-do-wells, et cetera, et cetera.
I just came back from Texas. I'm on the toll roads there a fair amount of times going places. They take my license plate and the picture of me inside the car every time I go through about 15 different places. If I have somebody in the car, that shows up. Attorneys there in cases of domestic problems and so on actually go to the state and try to get those particular records to prove that somebody was with somebody at some particular time. So once you start doing this at toll bridges, you do this on toll roads, you do it in parking lots. Once this is out, you can't believe how many times your picture gets taken in the States today.
I wouldn't disagree. Did we not have a conversation a couple of weeks ago about an issue that is coming up from that, where because they're top down and shooting basically, I think they're shooting in two directions, but definitely top down, and women are complaining because it is catching them in various states of undress.
Well, I can imagine that. I can also tell you that
I can imagine
when
it
you're
too.
out on the road, there are some very interesting things that sometimes occur, especially in the evening hours when people are driving and enjoying themselves as couples. So,
Driving and enjoying
there's
themselves.
A lot of things that are getting caught now.
Yep, the surveillance society, and at some point we're all going to design, figure out whether we really want them. Is it enough? We just we'll just do cleanups, or we'll just look the other way and hope nobody gets in accidents.
I think the genie's out of the jar. I think the genie's out of the jar. We do not have anything closer to privacy like you and I enjoyed in the 80s and 90s.
I am 61 years old, and among the reasons why I am a good boy is because I figure somebody out there is watching somewhere. It doesn't matter where I'm at. There's probably a video camera trained on me or trained on the area. That keeps me fairly honest. Other than being a good 60-year-old Catholic man, I'm young and honest that way. All right, Bob, I got to run. 20 after 9 o'clock in the morning. 888-8255. He's absolutely right. Genies are out of the bottle, and you're going, wait, put that picture back up on the screen. This is not a fashion show. This is not a fashion show. It's a picture of a rather attractive woman. Says, those shorts are too tight and way too short. Said, no man ever.
She got bed bugs, Ray.
No real man. No real man would say that. Anyway. So where was I? Where did I want to go for the rest? I got a whole bunch of stuff that's just been piling up, and I might take a look at that is interesting. I mentioned AI, and I didn't mean to, but the AI revolution is with us, and there's not a dang thing anybody can do about it. Another example of where you might see productivity is in customer service. A major company, Fortune 500 company, with a customer service team of more than 5,000 agents, got AI involved in these customer service calls. The AI monitored customer chats and would give agents real-time suggestions for how to respond, including ideas for the wording. Now, if you were an agent there, you were free to ignore the advice, maybe because you were that good, but what if you're just starting out and somebody is looking at the chat and the AI says, oh, we know what this problem is. This is a chip problem on the Framus resurger, and all you need to do is go to our website and order one for $1.99 in shipping and handling, and we'll get it out to you. The use of AI at this company led to a 14% increase in the number of customer service chats an agent successfully responded to per hour. Plus, can you imagine the quality of the information that they were able to get back and under customer satisfaction be able to solve some of those problems? So more problem solved in a shorter amount of time. And there's a major productivity that the company, productivity hit that the company is going to take in a very positive way. 9:22 in the morning, AI is getting ready to take over the planet. It'll probably be in charge of counting the votes in the upcoming presidential election. Joe Biden, Dr. Ron McNinch,
Joe Biden
has thrown his hat in the ring and will be running as the oldest candidate for president in the history of the United States of America, I believe.
Half a day, Cousin Ray.
It's so nice to begin the conversation with the sardonic Dr. Ron McNinch laugh.
I wish somebody at these news conferences would just ask Joe Biden, President Biden, what day is tomorrow?
Ask him who the president of the United States is.
That's another scary thought.
Mr. Biden, could you tell me who the president of the United States is? No, because I really want to know who's behind the curtain.
I mean, at some point, I mean, don't get me wrong, I could care less who's president, but there has to be a point when the public's going to have to reach a point of tolerance on this.
Well, I'm surprised it hasn't already. You take a look at where everything is, and the state of crime in this country is through the roof. I heard an interesting take on this. And we look at it and go, wow, what a terrible thing. You know, your Walmarts are closing here, your Bed Bath and Beyonds are closing there. This is, this outfit is shutting down, and they're shutting down in many of them in cities where they've got these Soros-sponsored DAs, and crime is all over the place. Well, the result of that now is that many of the real property owners, people that were owning and running malls and buildings where these Walmarts and these Bed and Bath and Beyonds and whatever were all in, they all of a sudden don't have any new customers and new tenants in these buildings, and they're going to have to just give it back to the bank, declare some kind of bankruptcy, and the number here associated with something like $11 trillion in real property is jeopardized here as a result of all of these things that are happening, all of these closures and retreats of major businesses from these lefty cities. And never mind the fact that they're lefty cities, this is going to have impacts on everybody, because they say that this will, you remember the housing bubble that we had a few years ago, 2008, 2009? They say this will eclipse it completely. They say that will look like small change, and forget about banks too big to fail, real impact in the economy. But they say it's going to be, it will be worse, much worse than that.
Well, that's what happens when you turn.
And we've already got the Fed dicking around with the money.
Well, these aren't stores in these cities; these are looting stations, and that's the reality. They've allowed pretty much anybody to walk in and take anything they want with impunity. There's no prosecution or punishment for anything, and there has to be a point when they're going to reach their point of tolerance, and I'm just not sure when it's going to happen.
Well, they're just leaving. They're just going. Never mind. We don't want to get in an argument here. The problem is there aren't enough members of that community telling the other ones to knock it off, because we got to shop there too. We've got to put food on the table. We've got to work in those places. They're shutting them down. It's the shoplifting is one thing, but if you spend any time on social media anymore, you know that sometimes the folks that work in these places are victims. Hell, there was a guy that worked at Home Depot weeks away from getting married, and I think he got shot in the face by somebody because he was trying to stop a shoplifter.
Right.
And no job is worth that.
Probably a shoplifter let out of jail for a violent felony well early, or not even
maybe never even made it to jail. In a lot of these places, never even making it to jail. Hawaii is turning into that. There were 700 arrests. I was reading this on one of my Hawaii Free Press deals, and there were 700 arrests that were conducted. None of them turned into jail time. And this is some pretty heady stuff here, starting at shoplifting and going all the way up to rape and assaults. And 700 people were arrested, and 700 people went through the system but never made a stop in the jailhouse.
A lot of this started when we had this craze about mask wearing, and I believe that caused what Emil Durkheim 120 years ago would have called anomie. That is a kind of mob-like behavior, because people felt they couldn't be individualized or identified. And so when people feel that way, they can become very violent. They can be just out of control. And a lot of it was linked to mask wearing. A lot of it's linked to suddenly people don't have to show their face anymore, and they can claim a public health reason for not showing their face.
Yeah. Well, you got mask wearing, number one, and then hoodies are also very, very popular. So you put a mask on, dark sunglasses, and hoodies, and I don't know you from Adam. And very good chance that I might not even be able to detect skin color.
Right. It'd be nice. You know, you're talking about license plates earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I think there need to be like external clothing identifiers for people, given who live in certain areas, just to ensure their own safety.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Pretty soon, people will be able to identify you based on the variations in your mRNA. Yeah, you'll be able to pass by something, and will number one be able to detect that, hey, you are vaccinated, and number two, oh, that's Dr. Ron McNinch. That's a unique mRNA DNA signature that came about once the vaccine started interacting with the DNA that was already in there. It came out like what do they call them? Mac IDs on the computer. You know, there will never be a repeat of this number for 1 billion years, right? If we kept trying, so don't worry about it. We'll be able to come up with a unique ID for Dr. Ron McNinch and everybody else that's vaccinated. So you walk by this machine, our AI will detect who you are.
I feel so special now.
Right? But interesting and brave world that we find ourselves living in. Do you suppose they've moved the hands of the doomsday clock any closer to midnight yet?
I've got to tell you, I don't know if you heard what Trump said about nuclear weapons, but Trump said, you know, they're downright scary, and a lot of people forget this. After the election, the Chinese were afraid that Trump was going to do something radical and crazy, you know, with you know, in the area of foreign relations or in the area of you know, trying to create a wag the dog scenario, which was totally not in his intentions at all. I think he was upset about the election and he was expressing it. But the Chinese were afraid that, oh, you know, I think they were being told through various sources, they believed the purple Kool-Aid about Trump, which is kind of sad because actually he was able to handle the Chinese very, very, very well. They would have, you know, he wouldn't have put up with the balloons flying over and all these other shenanigans that the Biden administration has not only put up with, they accepted, they tolerated it. They let these balloons fully, you know, traverse our airspace across the country from coast to coast.
They allowed the Chinese to encircle Taiwan. That was pretty provocative. They allowed the Shandong to get within 400 miles of downtown Augusta. Yeah, they could pick up the radio station as close as they were. They might have been able to hear us talking on the radio when they were here in our neighborhood last week.
Well, trust me, they're a Tall Tales listener. You know,
Gotta be, especially the older hardcore guys. Gotta be. Yep. That's where we end up here on this program. Anything interesting locally? I think one of the big stories is the fact that the governor, again, not surprised, not disappointed, a little bit disappointed because I'd kind of like to see what they could do if they worked together. But is it just was that just a middle finger to Therese Terlai? That's the way I want to put it, right? It's just a big fat middle finger to Therese Terlai and members of the coalition, her coalition at the legislature.
Yeah, I think the bottom line, Ray, and we've talked about this directly and indirectly before. Once there was a coalition legislature, the governor should have immediately stepped in, played the peacemaker, got everybody kumbaya, you know, behind a united front within her administration. She should have apologized to those Democrats that were offended by the political shenanigans that were done against them. And she should have said, I am the moral suasion leader of the Democrat Party, and here's the goals. Let's work together to get them. That I don't think has ever happened. And to be blunt, in order for her, I think she found out, and the AG, I think, unfortunately, has had to be the one to tell the governor this.
You can't do what you want every time you want.
Right, and it shouldn't be the attorney general that has to say this. This is actually something her own advisors should tell her. And unfortunately, it's like, don't kill the messenger. The AG is simply stating a very important policy, political obvious in that regard. And by the way, I meant to mention something really quickly. You mentioned Pete Scrow and a dispute he had with
well, it's just bubbling up. So Pete was on the radio this morning. Pete Scrow was on the radio saying that in the signature block on the doggone end of the lease agreement is a woman named Carrie Ann Camacho, and he doesn't feel that she has been vetted or has the authority to sign off on the Department of the Navy. Peter Santos called in later on and kind of suggested that that he knew more about that kind of thing that Pete Scrow did. And then Pete Scrow sent me a note here. Says, it copied me on a note that he had sent to Pete. Santos says, Peter, I do not appreciate telling me I don't know what I'm talking about to an audience of thousands. It was brash and unprofessional. Hey, you've heard those words. And you know nothing about me. Suggest reading this. I'll put up my legal, business, environmental law, ancestral lands expertise, and hospital development experience against your bio. Do not defame me ever again. Signed, Peter Scrow. So maybe on the wrong foot. Maybe they started off on the wrong foot here this morning. Don't pee in my Rice Krispies, that kind of thing.
Sure. I have to say, Mr. Scrow is an expert on standing up hospitals. And he nearly single-handedly stood up GRMC, and he did an excellent job with it. And he genuinely cares about healthcare on Guam. That's another point. It's not just it's a talking point for him. It's a very, very much a kind of work of love. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a
labor of love.
Labor of love for him, and he's very serious about it, and he takes it very seriously, and rightfully so. I mean, he took a lot of heat trying to stand up GMRC.
Oh, my God. Oh, good Lord. Do you remember? There were all kinds of people that just, no way, we're not, the government of Guam, really got into defensive mode on that. And this is what I pointed out to people, anybody that would listen, that the government of Guam is a living, breathing thing. And when it was very, very clear that it might be under attack, as feeble as GMC, Guam Memorial Hospital was at the time, there was no way that the government was going to let their investment in their version of healthcare go down without a fight, and they rallied everybody. I mean, just the idea that GRMC was trying to get a qualifying certificate, man, that was embattled, and it was embattled by a number of people in the medical community. And I thought, well, this is amazing that and finally, we got smart on this and brought some of those complainers onto the actual steering committee, and then they stopped complaining. As soon as they got a title, they were good.
And here's the key thing. There's a lot of people in our community who genuinely care about healthcare. They genuinely care about improving the hospital, making a better site. Why is this entire controversy centered on a piece of land 7 miles away from the current site?
Because the current governor of Guam has made a decision, and as you know from watching her political career from where you have been, and have seen her dig in her heels like this many times before. Remember when last time they raised the GRT? She was a part of that. You remember when Johnny Gerber decided that he was going to go, I believe, from Big Navy all the way up to Anderson Air Force Base, dragging the thing, the Carabao sled. That was because he could not get the people over at the legislature, and at the time it was run by Defunto Ben Pangilinan and Lulian Guerrero at Rules, to regard Marine Corps Drive as an accomplishment of the United States Marines. They said, no, they call it Marine Drive because it's right next to the ocean. Are you blind? Are you new here? Even though there's a monument on Marine Corps Drive right across from Chamorro Village, which describes pretty accurately that road is there because of the men and women, at the time men, I'm sure, of the United States Marine Corps that wanted to make sure that there was a way for them and everybody else on Guam to be able to traverse the western side of the island. You could not convince them otherwise. And they took very, very extreme steps to be able to stand on their position, even though everybody told them that they were wrong. And it's the same thing that we're seeing here. As I said, you've seen the way the arc of her political career. You know what I'm talking about. 9:37. I got to run. I'll talk to you pretty soon.
Ray, Guam's a field of honor, and there are heroes everywhere here, and the numbers of medals of valor that were awarded here during World War II is incredible.
Yep.
And I encourage everyone to take a look at those records and just see just what a special place we live in.
Yep, or ask any Marine. They'll be happy to tell you the story. All of them know it almost by heart. 9:37. I'll see you pretty soon. 888-8255-888-TALK. Now, it might be a little bit fuzzy on my history as I'm moving through all of this and just kind of playing tag with Dr. McNinch. Yeah, but to say, how do I want to say this? When your daughter is stubborn when she's a little girl, doesn't want to go to sleep, doesn't want to do her homework, doesn't want to eat the food that we put out for dinner, blah, 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 blah. You go, it's stubborn. It's a trait that we kind of want to see later in life. We want to be able to see them stand on their rock, pick a hill to die on, that kind of thing. But there comes a limit. You can expect that when they're little kids. But when you grow up and you're just stubborn because. Why has it got to go up at Eagles Field? Well, because I already made a decision. I've already decided that it's going to go there, and that's the end of the conversation. There's a knock. No more conversation. We're done. Anyway, that's I think the personality that we deal with here. 9:38 in the Ray Gibson Show. I want to put this back up on the screen because it's happening today. They are already halfway sold out from pre-sales. So in an hour and 20 minutes, please direct your attention to Building 400 at Guam Community College. There is a Thai buffet, $10 only, which is another reason why it sells out quick. We've got papaya salad, vegetable pad thai, Thai fish cake, steamed rice, beef satay, chicken curry, and tapioca Thai tea. And bring $10 and a reusable bag because they don't have any of that stuff there. They're just doing the food. I love the way they put this down here, although it's kind of amusing to me. May contain food allergens: wheat, soy, milk, eggs, tree nuts, peanuts, fish, and shellfish. Do you know why they put all that stuff in there, Joe? Because those are the ingredients for really good Thai food.
Oh, yeah.
If you're allergic to that
There's
stuff.
no nuts in it?
Don't eat any. It's like Dylan Mulvaney. Well, I don't know. But I'm sure the people that already are allergic to this stuff have never been in a Thai restaurant at all. Or maybe they're the people that go, look at the menu and go, does this have this in it? Does it have this in it? Oh, that's too bad. I was going to order that. It looks so good, but it has that stuff in it. Are you sure? Could you ask the shelf to make it without this stuff in it?
Yeah.
Really? You can't?
I like it when it's spicy level 2 and it's going to take your head off. And 10 is the hottest.
Yeah. Yeah, that takes a little bit of getting used to there. On the other hand, I have been in places where they'll go, you be careful, Ray, because this is really, really hot. I don't think you're ready for this, Ray. You better sit down. Can we get another beer here for Ray? Because he's going to need it when he's done. And I'll put it in my mouth and go, yeah, I kind of got a bite, but there's nothing to it. How do you do that, Ray? How is it? I'm born and raised on Guam. I've been through some pretty hot things in my life, and I'm, I suppose, capable of being able to deal with it. I know people that think ketchup is too hot. No, so... You're laughing, but I'm serious.
Who are those people?
Take the ketchup off. No, guys, it's too spicy for me.
Those are not your people, Ray.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Same color, but anyway, 19 away from the top of the hour. Don't let me... You see, now I'm going to start insulting people. I need to take a break. I'll be right back.
Chili's has just rolled out the best version yet of the 3 for $15 meal deal. Mix and match your choice of beverage and starter with the largest selection of entrees. Enjoy crowd favorite dishes like the honey chipotle chicken crispers with rice, bacon ranch quesadillas, or the juicy Santa Fe burger. There's so many combinations to choose from that you might have to three-peat to try them all. So come on down and make your own 3 for $15 meal deal at Chili's. More life and great value happen here.
Are you looking for a quick, easy, and affordable way to get the legal documents you need? It's Pro Se 101. Pro Se 101 allows you to create legally binding documents for a variety of situations without spending a fortune. Guardianship creation, name changes, power of attorneys, wills, trusts, and more. Call 800-303-9240 to get the help you need. That's 800-303-9240 or visit PROSE101.com. Don't waste time or money.
JV International Safety Equipment has it all for you. Fall protection, rain gear, traffic signs, speed bumps, custom signs and banners, PPEs, fire extinguishers, plus more. Check them out on Facebook at JV International Safety Equipment Company or visit their website, www.jvisec.com. JV International Safety Equipment, Guam's leader in occupational and environmental safety equipment. Call 688-9524. JV International Safety Equipment, located in Harmon Industrial Park.
Ding, 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 ding. Do you have a family like you and Ruckus? Are there special words that you have just between the two of you that make it made up of different things?
Yeah.
Everybody, I think everybody has a family-lect kind of thing. You know,
Yeah.
words that things that my dad was always fond of saying that don't appear anywhere else in the English language at all. They're just our words. Putalanya carajo, it's cold here.
Yeah, we know each other.
Yeah. Trying to think of some of the others. Ponder that. Well, if you got nothing else to do right now, if you're sitting around daydreaming, maybe think about some of the things that you've got. Oh, a perfect example. Frank the Crank Camacho, who we love dearly here on this program. There's a Frank the Crank Camacho word, and he has incorporated it into his business. It is Shinarp. And now Shinarp's been around for a long, long time, but I don't know that anybody has been able to, as I said, incorporate it as well as he did. He's totally adopted it into his business. You want a sharp knife? No, don't get a sharp knife. Sharp's not good enough. You want it to be Shinarp, bro. That's the thing. Think about the special words in not your dialect, but your family-lect. I think everybody's got something like that working for them. And it must even more fun. Because, we're Chamorros, and that means that we get to bend up 3 different languages. English, oh, my God, we're from, never mind, Chamorro, we're from Guam. That means that we get to bend things up in Filipino and Chamorro and American and Spanish and all of those kind of different languages that we have been exposed to all of these different years. And maybe that's how we come up with things like, I've got it, I did celebrity birthdays already, and the timeline on Facebook is moving closer, which means, occasionally, I will get the Facebook birthdays while I'm on the air.
Oh, okay.
While I'm on the air.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of notables in here, including the very beautiful Sandy Flores.
Sandy Flores.
Sandy's one of Herman Chrysostomo's, mega models from back in the day.
Okay.
Just as beautiful today as she was then. Tom Meyerhofer's birthday today. Tom Meyerhofer's our friend, and he's in charge of the Infinity section of the Crown.
Okay.
Yeah. So happy birthday to you, Thomas Meyerhofer.
Happy birthday, Tom.
From all of us, and Gennaro. Trina San Augustine is celebrating her birthday today. Happy birthday to you, kiddo. What do I always call her? Dolly. I called her Dolly since a long time ago.
No, that's what you...
She calls me Rupert.
Okay.
That's our family lective, if you will. Jennifer Steep, happy birthday to you. I don't know if I know her well enough to be able to describe her. Gillette Leon Guerrero from Once Upon a Time. She's one that knows all about the Spam Johnny Gerber stories from back in those days. Mark Kelly, who you might not know. And Barb Lujan. I've known Barb for a long time. I used to call her Butt. Happy birthday to you, but 9:45 in the Ray Gibson Show. So a bunch of other stuff maybe that we can talk about. Let me just quick look at the table of content. Even once in a while, I got to do this because I'll walk out of the studio at 10 o'clock going, man, hit nothing but home runs today. Got to everything on the table of contents. I did not. Looking at it now. You want to work in a hotel, Joe?
Of course. I
Leo
want
Palace.
to be a masseuse.
Leo Palace. Do you know how to be a masseuse?
I can massage anything.
I watched the movies.
That didn't come out right.
Yeah. What is it? Massage something. Suite? Is it massage suite on the sites? I don't know. But anyway, so employment on Leo Palace. And how many times, Real Joe, have you ridden your bicycle around Leo Palace area?
A lot, and it looks like...
Yeah, right?
It's got algae all over it, Ray. You need a water blast.
The water blast. But the problem is that it's so big that they water blast, and then they water blast the whole compound, and then they got to start all over again from the gate and start water blasting and painting again. There's something about the area. It's lots and lots of algae. You need to buy a good algicide in there. Find Pam Duvall's husband. Clay will explain what you need to do so you don't have to paint the same buildings once every 2 or 3 years, and they're not little buildings. Anyway, so Leo Palace, they've got looking for, and maybe now things are coming back for them. They're looking for the rooms division manager on duty, front desk clerk, housekeeping, house person / utility shuttle driver, recreation attendant. Hold on. That looks good. Recreation attendant.
Oh, that's you, Ray.
Buddy. Lifeguard.
Yeah. Whistle on the neck.
Can't take the pressure. Food and beverage. They're looking for pastry chefs, a restaurant manager, banquet supervisor, bartender, and wait staff. Do you remember being able to go to that buffet that they had back in the day?
I do.
That was it was one of those, you forget it's there. It was never a go-to for me and my family. But every once in a while, somebody go, they really trying to figure out where to go, and somebody just go, hey, we haven't been to Leo Palace in a while. And then you load everybody up, and then you go to Leo Palace. Yeah, and it's like, where are we going? It's like driving to the States. We're driving into Leo Palace, and it's like we're on the mainland here. Everything looks so clean and green and well kept. There's no government of Guam anywhere around here after a certain distance into the compound. But they did. I thought that they had a really, really good buffet, and one of my favorite things was they had kegs of beer that you could go to. So you could go to it and get your beer. You didn't have to ask anybody. Here's your glass. Yeah. But it was included with the meal or something like that. And then go bowling.
Yeah, bowling.
Is it the bowling alley at Leo? Is it still open?
I don't know, man. But there's a karaoke right next to it.
There is a karaoke. There's a karaoke there with massive rooms. They've got VIP rooms in the karaoke
could be
place.
A star.
Yeah. Come to the bar, be a star. I don't know if they're still open. 888-8255. If you are aware of whether or not the bowling alley is still open at Leo Palace, or if you've recently been there, and the reason why is because one of these days I'd like to become a scratch bowler. It's a dream.
Kingpin.
Oh, my God. I've been munching. See, I'm not that bad. Hold on a second. Let's see. I'm looking to see if anybody's typing in an answer on whether or not lifestyles of the rich and famous massage anything real, Joe. This is Jerome. All right. Charles Craw, just traveling back in time. Jiminy Crockett. There it is. My dad, when he was frustrated with me, would say, Jiminy Crockett. Who says that? Isn't that great? There it is. That's Coño Antonio, says Charles Craw. Coño. There's another phrase. Like I said, we were talking about family dialects, and words and phrases that you use just in your own family. All right. Bowling and karaoke at Leo closed during COVID and never reopened, says Donna D. Ow.
Sad.
Well, maybe they're going to reopen because they're looking for all of that stuff. Chefs and managers and bartenders and wait staff called them a couple of months ago because I wanted to go there, and that was the answer then. We'll see what we can find out. Sandra says, when my son does something special, he says, the apple don't fall far from the tree, but my dad doesn't really know it, man. Doesn't really know, man, he's dad. That's interesting.
Wow. Dude, that's cool.
Yeah. Well, it's always a fun time for confessions, isn't it? All right. So they're also hiring at the Leo Palace for certified pool operator, AC and refrigeration technician. Good luck. All of the Kuyas are working at the airport now. Plant maintenance, electrician, plumber, and greenskeeper. Now, I like the greenskeeper one because it doesn't look like it requires any real-world experience. What do? I'm a greenskeeper. I watch Caddyshack. That's as good as I need to get, right? And the golf division is looking for cart attendants.
Oh, yeah.
No, they're not, notice now, not cart mechanics. Anything like that. What do you? I'm the cart attendant. What do you do? I take it from there and I whip it around and put it in the back so the next load of Koreans and Japanese can get in. I just take the old beer cans out and empty the ashtrays, do all of those kinds of things. So maybe they're coming back. Jerome asking, are they hiring a pool lifeguard? And yes, it said that they are looking for a lifeguard for the pool over at Leo Palace. So they are anticipating maybe somebody's going to be going in it. I've always, suggested that the guys over at Leo just, there's places where the government of Guam has just absolutely failed. A lot of it has to do with parks and recreation and things like that. We've just never been able to get our head around all of that stuff. And I think it's because of the way they handle money, where they take all of the money that they get and they put it kind of back into a big pool, or at least they did back in the days. And then the money would go back out globally into the different services and whatever the priorities happen to be. And I don't think you can run that agency like that. I'll give you an example. Like you go to the Rick Nanetti tennis courts, right? And Nick charges you to play tennis there, and he takes that money. And what would be best, the real world, I would say, Rick, keep that money. Maintain as much as you can this tennis court and use whatever you've got extra to take care of the other tennis courts that might be on Parks and Rec property. Make sure that, they've got new paint and they got something to kill the wind in the thing, and new nets, all of the things that you need to have at a tennis court, something to squeegee these things, and let him take care of all of the Tennessee stuff. There needs to be one guy that's in charge, say, of the swimming pools. One guy. And he can charge as much as he wants to for you to go swim in his swimming pool. And he is going to be responsible, or she, or they. Nah, it's going to be a he or she, because there's only two genders. But he or she will be responsible for charging the admission and collecting the money and sticking it in a bank and making sure that there is always chlorine, that there is always shock, there's always muriatic acid, and to make sure that we've got toilet paper in the bathrooms. So that
fish
people
out the brown sharks from the pool.
Exactly. Somebody that can fish those things out. But my point is that the money for those operations stay in those operations, right? The rest of the government of Guam can subsidize everything else that these guys are doing, but they say, well, will that be able to take care of all of the open spaces for which we charge or we don't charge in the Department of Revenue and Taxation? And that will lead to two other questions. Number one, why don't we start charging at some of these spots? Does everything have to be free? Are there other things? You want to go and use a barbecue pit in Hawaii? You want a barbecue pit in Hawaii, son? You got to pay. You want to go down to Cairns, Australia, and they've got this beautiful boardwalk that they've got out there, and there's all these different places where you might be able to put another shrimp on the bobby. But if you want to use that, you've got to make arrangements for it and then pay for those kinds of things. And maybe that will subsidize the maintenance of those barbecue grills, and maybe that is going to help with keeping the grass trimmed and the bathrooms cleaned. We decided how we were going to do this a million years ago, and nobody's looked at it another way since then. And I think that's terrible. Maybe that ought to be the next. When Chris Barnes, you know what? When Chris and Therese are governor and lieutenant governor.
Yeah, when? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, another 3.5 years, unless we do a recall. I'm just kidding. You can take that wherever you want to.
Someone speed dial the governor right there, dude.
Yeah, well, she's traveling. It's all right. It's cool. All right. So a couple other things here in the table of contents, lamenting as well the idea that a meth head who was out, he was in jail already, and then they let him out, and he got some meth in his hands and started smoking it and went after some guy at the gas station with a set of brass knuckles. 9:55 in the morning, and I'm going to make this very, very clear. You need to, today, go online and download the application for a weapons permit. You need to download an application for a weapons permit, and then if you want to, you might as well go through the whole process and do one for a concealed carry permit, and just do whatever it is that they want you to do. And then once you got that, go see Mike over at Bargain Tactical and see what kind of weapon fits your hands perfectly. I'm not talking about, buying an AK, AR yet. I mean, start setting money aside.
Yeah, baby steps.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to... I used to think diving was the most expensive hobby on Guam until I got into guns. Yeah, there's no shortage of ways that you can spend a whole lot of money on that. And I'm not saying that everybody on Guam should gun up. I'm just saying that there should be a majority of people on Guam that are gunned up so the next time you're at a gas station and some meth head is going after some guy with a pair of brass knuckles, you might be able to do something about cooling that situation. According to your skills and training and your understanding of the law. And certainly if that person with the methed up idiot with the brass knuckles is coming after you or your family, you don't know who it's going to be. You don't know when it's going to be. A lot of times you go, well, I'm just going to stay in a well-lit place. I'm just going to stay and keep myself safe by only going out during the day and all of that. People are just as methed out during the day as they are at 3 o'clock in the morning in some of these darker places. So I'm just encouraging you to use your God-given rights. One indivisible with liberty and justice for all, and try to use each one of the Bill of Rights, and including the First and the Second Amendment, because you are going to need to protect yourself. When the police can be there, when seconds count, police can be there in minutes. Okay, what have I got to tell you about that I haven't yet done? A group of crisis experts and federal advisors conclude in a report out today that a lack of disaster preparedness and coordination led to an unraveling of the nation's pandemic response. The crisis, the report says, exposed a collective national incompetence in governance. Ha! 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 It is, as we said, the COVID crisis group, 34 members, was convened by 4 foundations in 2021 to lay the groundwork for a 9/11 commission-style assessment. The group praised certain aspects of the response, including Operation Warp Speed, but questioned why a similar effort wasn't launched to produce protective gear or antivirals. It will be interesting to get my hands on a copy of the COVID crisis group and their response to the response and how many different things that were done, how many abuses of our rights were conducted against us by governments that should have known better, that didn't bother to find out. They just tried to, what sounded like they were doing was trying to find what they thought were best practices, but actually turned out to be worst practices from the municipalities down the road in other countries, and said, well, let's try that. That'll flatten the curve, and probably extended and prolonged things. You know, I'm fond of referring to the Great Depression as, you know, it started out as just a depression. We get into depressions all the time economically in this country. It was the government's reaction to the depression, that one in particular, that caused it to be the Great Depression. Ponder that as you make your way into your Wednesday. I got to get out of here. I can hear the music playing in the background. Just a reminder, an hour from now, Building 400 over at GCC, you get yourself a chance to get a $10 Thai buffet. People rave about this. They are already halfway sold out. A papaya salad, veggie pad Thai, Thai fish cake, steamed rice, beef satay, chicken curry, and tapioca Thai tea for your dessert. Praise, bring with you folding money, a 20 or a 10, and reusable bags so that you can take your haul out there with you. As we get closer and closer to it, I'm going to see if I can get more details on the Mall Ball 23. They're going to have a 3-on-3 tournament June the 2nd through the 4th at the Micronesia Mall. I want to get you information on how you can sign up, maybe win $1,000 between you and your 2-3 other friends. It's 10. We're KUSG again. Your peak is best. This is The Point.
In migrants, I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. That's what leaders in one Texas city say they're preparing for in the coming weeks as a COVID-related health policy